take a shower before I went to dinner. So I was like, oh, he called on me twice because I had YouTube on. I was listening. But I'm like, figures. I'm not there anymore, and he called on me twice. Like, awesome.
And because I didn't have the screen where I could see everybody who was on the call. I can only see one person at a time. I was like, oh okay, Jason isn't even here. All right.
Oops.
Well, whoever's there working the door, I just want to say this to you.
Thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
David Ladd.
David Ladd.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
David Ladd, After Dark.
David Ladd.
You know you want some of
CoCoTALK.
this.
After Dark.
Featuring more.
David Ladd.
David, what do you like doing?
Oh, I'm much happier breaking stuff.
Oh, that's great. Here's one for you.
Hey, you got your CoCo 3 yet?
Thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
Who has that with the CoCo 3 soundbite?
I don't remember. Who did the CoCo 3 soundbite? It's famous.
I don't know. I've heard. I think I even heard the CoCo crew use that. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
John uses that a lot.
It's Dave Thompson, isn't it?
Could be. I honestly don't remember.
The guy from Wendy's.
You almost don't need anybody on these calls. You've got your soundboard.
Yeah, but we're all being replaced by machines, so it's inevitable. Hey, Tim Franklin is here. Nick Marotta is in the live chat. You guys are welcome to join us on the panel here because we have celebrities like
David Ladd.
with us on here. The Tonight Show is hosted by
OG Stevie Stroh.
I swear to God, simple things for simple minds. I'm just like I'm a child, so what can I
Now
tell
you
you?
see something shiny.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. So we're here. It's an After Dark. We are a bunch of grumpy old men.
Speak for yourself.
Spent the entire afternoon telling all those kids to stay off our lawn, and so now here we are in our nightcaps. We got our slippers on, and we're going to talk about God knows what. But I think we're live now. I think we're live just about everywhere. And then, hey, it's Nick Marotta, everybody. Nick Marotta, how the hell are you?
You need a musical name for Nick Marotta, really.
Yes, we do. He's got his own little ukulele. He could play some tunes for us.
Hey,
Nick, you got a copy on us?
I do.
All right. Well, we're here. The gang is all here. The band is together. Let's go ahead and cue the intro music here, and we're going to start this show.
CoCoTALK. After Dark. CoCoTALK. After Dark.
That's right. When you can't get enough David Ladd during the day, and you just got to have more Nick Marotta. We're here for your listening pleasure. It is CoCoTALK After Dark. All right. I never get tired of hearing that song. And to everybody who has joined us in the live chat right now, to everybody who is on the panel, I would just like to say to all of you right now.
Thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and
Yes.
thank you.
We're all screwed.
I've created a monster.
Keep coming back, though.
Nick Marotta.
Hey.
Welcome to a day in the life of Nick Marotta, everybody. How was your day today, Nick?
My day was great. Thank you. Excellent show earlier today, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Well, according to a few
enjoyed
people,
it.
I was putting them to sleep.
No. Actually, no, the chat was pretty lively today in YouTube.
Mm-hmm. It was. Hey, there's back in mission control, just making sure that Space Force X is keeping us safe from those aliens. Ron Delvaux up there. Ron, do you copy?
Copy.
All right. Ron Delvaux in mission control.
Just finished eating.
Ah, yes.
My wife timed it perfectly.
Nice.
Houston, we have a problem.
Houston.
Oh, yeah.
I hope those beans don't
No
interact.
beans. No beans. Chicken. Big
Tim
potato.
Franklin's here. Hey, Tim Franklin.
Oh, I
Yeah,
can't have beans.
everybody's welcome to join us. I put
Fried
the link.
chicken?
The link to the Zoom chat is in the description of this video if you guys want to join us. We let everybody in here. We even let
David Ladd
on the show. So, oh man.
David.
Nick Barota says you guys are too kind. Yes.
Hold on here. Nick, who is breathing?
Oh, so what's happening?
That was my sigh.
Breathing.
Holy shit, David Ladd, why are you so loud? What the hell is wrong with you?
Nothing's wrong with me. God,
Okay,
he's
you
so
are coming
loud.
through really, really loud, David. You are like burning my ears. You're distorted. Back off the microphone. You don't have to eat it.
Sound like a game show.
I'm not eating the microphone.
He's coming in hot.
You're coming in hot.
You sound like a game show announcer or something. Tell them what they've won.
Yeah, David.
Door 3. Door 3.
It's CoCoTALK After Dark with the loudest David Ladd microphone up by law.
For the hearing impaired, there's David Ladd.
Our top story tonight.
Well, the reason.
Why, thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to cover the storm coming into Florida.
It must be too many explosions.
Ow.
You're killing me,
Yeah.
David. Literally. I need to.
I think the
Lay
Dr.
off the
Pepper
sugar,
required
David.
watered
Lay
down
off that
just
sugar.
more.
Yeah, I don't.
My food's coming up. No.
I don't have. Kevin Holiday is here. Are we live on Facebook or are we not live on Facebook? Let me see here.
Yeah, who cares about Facebook?
Thank you.
I think
you're
we're
too
on
kind.
tape on Facebook.
Yeah, I think we are live on. Okay, so Kevin Holloway just joined Facebook and it says nothing. So what does that mean? We're live on Facebook. Yeah, I think so. I can't tell. I think we are. I think we can.
There's a Kevin Holloway?
There is a Kevin Holloway. David, seriously, you need to, whatever you're doing to your microphone, you either need to talk softly or move your mic further away from your head because it's really loud. It's hurting my ears. Please,
Well, the phone doesn't let me change that.
All right, you can control the volume of your own voice, can you not?
Inside voices, David.
I
am.
All right, speak quietly, please. Use your library voice. All right. So what's going on, guys? Anything? Anyone? Rick Adams is having a beer.
CoCoTALK After Dark with the maximum amount of Nick Marota allowed by law.
Does the Canadian Border Police not let you come on during the day, Nick? Is that what the deal is?
Well, the thing, I'm not really doing anything Coco related, so I don't really feel like I have anything to say during the day show.
It doesn't stop any of us.
Yeah.
Everybody else is coding or doing something with the Coco, and I haven't really yet. So I don't know. I don't know if
I don't do anything either. I have very little coding I've ever done. I'm just a user.
But you collect and stuff, right? I'm not doing
Yeah, but I'm a user. I use things.
There's
only got one
Like
garage.
you.
Right now, I'm a reminiscer, but
I'm
I
a
want to
user.
become a user again. I have fond memories of the Coco.
Who has fond memories of the CoCo?
I do, yeah.
Who's
Where did you
speaking?
meet her?
That was me, Nick, who said I have fond memories of the Coco. Unfortunately,
Nick
I got rid of all my stuff stupidly when I was in university.
I think we all did. It's one thing I regret.
Tim Franklin says this is his first After Dark, and he's scared. Don't be scared, Tim. You're among friends here. David Loud comes in a little hot, so you might want to turn down the volume. But other than that, I think this is a fairly safe place to be.
Speaking about that, we need to do a special Halloween edition.
Yeah,
I was just thinking
Yeah,
that.
we
You
can
know,
dress up as
put on
CP
costumes. Yeah.
Who's going to be the Coco Cat?
with a bent
There
tail.
you have it.
I think Jason should dress up as the Coco Cat.
There's Tom C. in Jersey. Tom C.
Jeez.
How are you doing? Tom, you need to join us. Yeah, I don't.
Yes.
At least David's using his inside voice now. Ladies and gentlemen, David Ladd is using his inside voice. So very good. Yeah, I really enjoyed hearing from Eric Critchlow today. I thought that was a good segment. I didn't realize how much stuff the guy had done.
Oh, yeah.
And all those little side stories, like working on stuff for in-flight systems and working for Microware and all kinds of cool stuff. I thought that one. Tim Franklin says everyone should dress up as David Ladd. Will the real David Ladd please stand up?
David Ladd costume does not include Dr. Pepper or water.
Yeah, well, we all have to shave our head first, so.
Oh, yeah. That ain't happening. I'll wear a skull cap.
Hey, there's something, that movie I was telling you I was watching, Halt and Catch Fire.
Halt and Catch Fire, yeah.
They had Jolt Cola.
Oh, neat. Yeah, Alan Huffman's
cool?
a big fan of that. Yeah. Yeah, I actually enjoyed that. He brought it to CoCo Fest. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
So we at the tail end of the show, Bruce Moore had brought up the fact that, it's time to vote for the new officers, right? Hey, Curtis Boyle is here. Curtis says that Eric is a good guy. Met him a few times. I can't be on the show tonight. Unexpected guest going to be here very shortly. All right, Curtis. Well,
bring him on the show.
Yeah.
If he's not expecting him, how does he know they're arriving shortly?
Yeah, he must be psychotic or something.
Hey, they must have called him from the corner. Hey, dude, we're here.
Yeah, the friends in my head are coming to visit. Unannounced.
Or he was on Tinder again.
Hey, shovel the snow so we can get in your driveway. Right?
So, Ron, it sounds like we were just saying before the show, we need to get like an Arizona Fest going. You have you and Paul Barton and now Eric Critchlow. There's almost a CoCo club in Arizona.
Yeah, and what's the other guy's name that wrote the assembly language program? Bill Barden.
William Barden's in there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah. If he doesn't respond, to your request, then we'll just have Ron Delvaux go
knock on his door.
Go have lunch with them, if you know what I mean.
Gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah, hey.
Things happen,
Hey. What's the matter with you, man?
Hey, I don't have.
What are you doing? What's wrong with you, man?
Shame if something was
make me
happening
have
to
lunch
you.
with you.
What were you going to say about the election?
Well, and we kind of brought it up at the tail end of the show that, the election is coming up and the vote for, whoever you're going to vote for, and I'm not here to promote a candidate, but I guess if we want to kind of pick up that subject again, since it was the tail end of the show, anybody want to chime in on their thoughts on, the Glenside Club and CoCo Fest and some things you'd like to see improved in the future under a new cabinet, so to speak?
I would just say vote early, vote often.
Hey, American Idol. Yeah.
I think they should make it so that all that want to come have prepaid flights.
Prepaid flights?
What do you think?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
I had to set up a whole Travelocity thing where you can book your flight, your rental car, your CoCo Fest ticket, and get a whole bundle type deal, right? So,
yeah.
I didn't know you could print out airline tickets on a TP-10.
Yes, you can. Back in the day, I did a trick on my brother. I printed out a IRS bill.
Yeah.
IRS logo at the top and stuff, and made him come to meet me for lunch. Right next to the IRS office.
Oh, man.
When he got there, I go, "What's wrong, man?" He goes, "Hey, I got to go and show them all my stuff from all these years. We had to go through all our stuff. I got a big pile of papers here. I got to go in there." I said, "Did you get one of these in the mail?" And I held up mine, because I made two. And he goes, "You got one too?" I said, "No, I made it up." You're kidding.
You are terrible.
I sent it. Well, he did a trick on me first. This is payback.
This is retribution.
He had what was it? Big Brothers of Western Ohio, Northwest Ohio, call me and say that they needed a big brother because I understand you have a brother named Pat Delvaux. I go, yes. And he goes, well, I understand that you haven't seen him in a while and he's looking for a big brother. And I go, okay. Okay. I didn't know this guy from Adam. So I said, okay, well, I'll take care of it. And he goes, okay. So we hung up, and then I figured I want to do something.
You got
I
him
get
good.
it back.
You
So
got him good.
we went to lunch. It was a roundabout way to go to lunch.
Yeah. That's funny.
I sent the mail where you had to sign it, So you had to sign it. Real official. I had a manila envelope, with I had a code on there, 666. He didn't even get it. I said, look at that number there. Does it mean anything to you? He goes, yeah, you're the devil.
Why does this sound like a crime was committed?
Yeah. Well, it was, because if I could have gotten in trouble.
Yeah, you were impersonating a federal agency. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is back in 1984, I think it was.
You were years ahead of your time. Because it happens all the time now.
The reason I thought of it is because I had triplicate paper with carbonless. It's carbonless, so I was able to give him
a copy.
Copies and it was
carbon
perforated.
copy.
It looked really, really original.
Very official. Yeah.
Yeah. Done on my CoCo.
Yeah. Not saying it's a CoCo project, but it was.
It was.
Curtis Boyle says if you meet William Barden. Yeah, could be.
You said it was a TP10 you did that on?
No.
Oh, okay, because that was a thin.
A DMP 110.
Okay, yeah.
Tonight on how to impersonate a federal agency on your CoCo.
Yeah.
There were times.
It was only like 3 years I spent in prison.
Lawbreaker edition.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to talk about any felonies they've committed?
Nobody's listening. It's just us girls here.
What?
Yeah, God, I'm a girl. I got a thyroid problem.
Yeah.
Insert
So
David
changes we want to make to CoCo Fest, huh? That's the question.
Or what would you expect if we're electing in new officers, and you have a chance to make change?
I would like to see them get a Tandy 2000 and use that for check-in instead of the CoCo. What do you think?
Yeah, it might speed things up by shave a minute off of the 45-minute process.
Yeah, it was tough, wasn't it?
That was painful.
Stand over there.
I feel so bad complaining about something so petty. It really should be a petty thing.
Yeah.
But and on the one hand, it's like, look, it's a retro hobby. This is a retro event. We're doing it the retro way, and there is a certain charm and appeal to that. But for those of us who are treating this as a hobby, which is me, this is a hobby to me. This is not a lifestyle. I realize that there are modern conveniences. I've got running water, I've got air conditioning, and I don't usually spend 19 minutes checking in anywhere. So it's just
you know why it took so long? Each one that was important got a tattoo.
So
I have a suggestion. Have CoCo Fest in Jersey.
Jersey Fest, yeah.
Jersey Fest. There you go.
Yeah. Well, basically, Curtis says pre-registration would help a lot, but most of us did pre-register. That's the part. The whole thing this year. We're like, hey, listen, let's add PayPal, let's prepay. If you've pre-registered and prepaid, you really shouldn't have to wait in any type of line other than to say, hey, there should be two lines. People who had not prepaid and people who had, and the people who had should be like on a clipboard. What's your name? Oh yeah, Curtis Boyle. Check you off. Here you go. Here's your name tag. Have a nice day.
That's what they did at Tandy Assembly, remember?
Yeah. Here's your sign.
The reason why it was held up is because they were going to tattoo my butt, and I just wanted to. Please, just my arm.
Hey, David has joined us. David Lafanoose from our Florida Retro Club. How are you?
Hey.
How's everybody doing?
We're doing okay.
Pretty good.
Just pontificating here.
I would like to see a new location. I think that would help a lot too.
One with a run Sunday bar.
It really should be near a major airport to reduce airfare.
It was. It's Chicago O'Hare.
Chicago's a huge airport.
I thought someone said this afternoon it was in Ohio.
Yeah.
That's Kansas Assembly.
What's that island? It's Kawai.
Kauai.
Why?
Yeah.
So now, is that CoCoTALK After Dark thing you have up there, Paul? Is that part of the game, or is that just something you just put up there with your software? And that's his third layer.
Yeah, it's just a layer.
We got multi-layer programming going on there.
That's the 256 color mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dual layer Coco 3, you know.
The dual layer. So, David, what have you been up to, sir?
Hold on, I was on mute. Sorry.
Yeah,
not much. Actually, over the last week or so, I've been thinking about. So, is this the After Dark or CoCoTALK only?
It's anything, yeah. That's
okay, very good. I don't have a good
open forum
topic here. No, I just have been thinking about expanding my Commodore collection a little bit. I just made just a couple of recent acquisitions along those lines, more of a Commodore Plus 4 and actually Commodore 64C, which I never owned back in the day. Figured I would venture into that a little bit and kind of finalize, finish the collection along those lines. Yeah. And as we speak, I'm actually tinkering with my trusted Commodore 128 and trying different things. So I'm kind of all in Commodore land right now.
Nah, neat.
At least for the last
we have a Commodore 64 on this show. It's like a big foot comes down on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it's fun. It's like I go through phases like that where now we'll go through an Apple phase. I'll go through CoCo phase, and I'll do the Commodore.
So do you have a Commodore wing of your house and a Tandy wing?
If I had the space, I would. I just have that's a Commodore shelf and then the Tandy shelf. No, but no, so far so good. It's just fun, but it's amazing to me how quickly I forget about some of the things related to each of those brands, and each brand was so drastically different from the other that.
What do you mean, startup commands or basic or?
Yeah, startup commands, basic, and then some of the more advanced stuff. Like for example, here, I'm working on the Commodore 128, and one of the guys I know is telling me, well, I don't know if you knew this, but with the SD2 IEC that you connect to the Commodore, you can have those files that are, simulating hard drives, and I built this image of GEOS on a hard drive, things I'd never heard about that you could do with a Commodore, and definitely not back in the day. And so it's like every single time you go into a brand like that, it's a brand new world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's you start literally from ground zero. There's very little knowledge that can be transferred from one brand to the other. Unlike today.
Candy stuff is pretty close, though. If you're on a Model 1 like this one or a Model 4, 3, a lot of in fact, I have a book here. Here, I have this fat book here. Let's see, over here.
Okay.
This book is cool. It has all the commands for all the Tandy stuff, or at least the 1.4. I don't think.
But even with the Tandy, I started the first Tandy I got was the Model 4, the Model 4D. Yeah. That's the first that I purchased, and then I bought the CoCo 3, and between those two, there was very little transferable knowledge. I thought, it's. I think that's what makes it very exciting and interesting for the computers from back in the days. The fact that
like I've got a Psycho Cat here. I think he needs me to give him some water. I've got an Apple II that I bought at CoCo Fest that I'm hopefully going to be picking up at some point in time. I have no idea what to do with it, so I'm going to have to be picking all you guys' brains since we've got a lot of Apple expertise in our I think it's an Apple IIc. And I have no idea what to do with it, but I'm going to need to figure out how to load software on there. I'm going to figure out, how can I do something like the CoCo SDC for the Apple. I'm probably going to want to be hitting up Javier for one of his miracle screens. Even though I've got a composite monitor, I would probably want to have one of his cool contraptions, So, I look forward to
it's a whole different world. And actually, at the last Florida Retro Computer Club meeting that we had a few weeks ago there in Pompano Beach, someone, I don't remember who, made the comment. He said, back in the day, there was very little cross-brand people. There were very few people that had a Commodore and an Apple. I mean, they were,
you couldn't afford it.
They were usually dedicated to one of those veins, and the communities themselves had very little overlap and very little cross-pollination. They were very, like, each brand had its own subculture.
What's funny, David, is there used to be an add-on for the Commodore 64 that would plug into the rear of it, and it would make it Apple compatible.
Yeah, which was very expensive, right? If I remember.
Rare. Very few people had one.
Yeah.
There was an Apple add-on board for the Tandy 1000 too, or probably just for PCs in general. But it was like an ISA card that would plug into the Tandy 1000. It would run the graphics on the screen and use the PC floppy to run Apple stuff.
Yeah. My friend had one. The Trackstar 128 was an Apple II Plus.
Yeah.
Then the Trackstar Plus was the Apple IIe.
Yeah.
The only
CoreDUMP used to sell their computers with the boards pre-installed into the education market.
Wow, that's like kind of 2-for-1. You got a PC and an Apple II all in one system.
Right, and Tandy did that also.
Yeah. The somewhat saving grace I had was moving from the color computer had Microsoft Basic, and when the disk, what they call RS DOS, Radio Shack DOS, it's not really a true operating system. They just added disk commands to the basic language, but the color computer DOS had commands like dir and stuff like that. So to translate from the color computer to the Tandy 1000, which was MS-DOS based, it was a very shallow learning curve because I already understood how to format a floppy. I understood how to type in dir and deal with file names and things like that. And the basic language was pretty much the same. So for me to jump from one Tandy system to another Tandy system, it was a very smooth transition. I don't know that would have been the case if I had jumped over to, say, like an Atari ST or an Amiga or anything else that was drastically different, So
the Commodore 64 is very, very different, but an Apple is similar to a TRS-80 Model 1 or a CoCo because it has a DOS within the basic. So the Apple II is a lot closer to a CoCo than just about any other.
Yeah. But I mean, I've probably got 3 or 4 retro systems behind me that I haven't even turned on yet. I've got a TI 99.4A in the box, never even looked at it yet. I've got an Atari 800 that I don't have a power cord for. I've got an Atari ST I don't have a power cord for. I've got an MSX system I got from Michael Brandt last time we were in the Central Florida Club meeting. I've never turned that thing on. So I've got some retro systems that are completely different that I've never seen before, and they're sitting right behind me 5 feet away, and I just haven't had the time or the inkling to turn them on and play with them yet,
No, but because I think one of the reasons also is that every single time you enter one of those new brands or different brands, you need to buy a series of additional accessories, because otherwise it doesn't do anything. Like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was about an inch away from purchasing a Spectrum, a ZX Spectrum 128 from the UK, the Plus 2 model. The one, I think the Plus 2 was when Amstrad bought over Sinclair in the later years there. But it's a 128K model that's supposed to be one of the most backward compatible models with the ZX Spectrum 48 and so on. Okay. And I was really so close to buying that. But then, you start scratching the surface and you're like, okay, how do I connect that to a monitor? And now they have those HDMI solutions for the ZX Spectrum. And then you look at it, it's like, okay, what about a CoCo SDC, type system? And they have their own system. So, yeah, I mean, you're buying the ZX Spectrum 128 for maybe 100 pounds, but then you need to buy 50 pounds this, 60 pounds that. And before you know it, you're a few £100 into a system just to get started, just so that you can load a program, run a program, and experience the system. So
yeah. It's almost like it honestly what might be the next best compromise is you say, you know what, I'm going to experience the software on an emulator, and then I'll
Right.
have the physical system just here on the shelf to look at.
See if it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we just been joined by Chad Cunnington, Nick's neighbor. How are you, Chad? Chad, do you copy? Maybe he'll come back in. And who's Carl Daughtery? Hey, Carl. Chad, are you there? I see you. I don't know if he's working on his audio-video setup.
You know, there are several new ZX Spectrum clones that have HDMI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
EIV and
I saw those, yeah. Yeah, I know.
And they're on
Those are-
eBay now.
This can be exciting as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a sucker for original hardware. You know, I'm kind of a sucker actually for original hardware
Yeah.
and original CRTs. Now, when it comes to drives, I like to have the original, but just as a collection piece. I like to have, obviously, the SD card-based emulators, but I'm kind of sucker for the real stuff, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Spectrum 48K with an interface one and a microdrive here somewhere.
Was the
And-
rubbery keys?
Yeah, with the rubbery keys. Because I
Yeah.
used to work for Zebra Systems in the United States. That was the major seller of Timex add-ons. And
Okay.
and I have a Timex Sinclair 2068, a Timex 1000, and I used to have a lot of fun with those back in the day.
Yeah, I mean that was, you know, back in the early '80s. That was a very successful computer. I mean,
Well,
ZX. I mean, Sinclair, the Sinclair line of
Sinclair, at
products
least in
altogether.
Europe, Sinclair was giving the Commodore 64 a major run for its money.
Yeah.
You know, in the United States, unfortunately, the Timex Sinclair didn't do that well.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, I grew up in Belgium, and in Belgium, definitely the ZX Spectrum and the Commodore 64 were the two leading products in, you know, the young teenager, I would say the young teenager crowd that I was a part of. The Apple were nice to have, but were
very
just way too expensive. Yeah, just
Germany,
you know,
the computer was the Atari ST.
I've had some Belgian waffles before. They were pretty good.
Yeah. I never knew those were, you know, those were truly Belgian until I moved to the U.S. And I was like, oh, okay, so they give us credit for the waffles, but the French took credit for the fries. Although in Europe, we're known for the fries. So go figure.
My name is Belgian, Delvaux.
Oh, and isn't in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Belgium is a curse word?
Oh.
Hey,
like,
Chad.
Belgium, man, Belgium.
Chad, can you hear us?
It's belching.
Yeah. Chad, can you hear us? Chad Edward, do you hear us? All right, we're trying to get Chad on the call here.
He sent an IM saying he's trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we got a few people trying to join us right now on Zoom who've never used Zoom before.
Carl's trying to check. Carl is trying to...
Hopefully you can figure out your audio and video settings. There's a microphone thing you can click on with an arrow on it. There's a camera thing you can click on. You might need to set that up. You might need to hang up and call back because when you first call in, it might ask you, do you want to use computer audio versus phone audio? So you might need to hang up and call back a few times and tweak a few settings. I actually have some screenshots on how to set up Zoom in our Discord server. For those of you who are on Discord, I've got a little area there of some tips and pictures.
I'm actually using it on my iPhone here. It works great. I'm just using the iPhone app.
The Zoom? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We're a big fan of this now.
Yeah, it's cool.
Now, is there information on how to get on the Discord server in Zoom just to make it
yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, got to complete that infinity loop. Yeah.
We're getting different views of Ron Delvaux's mission control.
Mission control. Major Tom to ground control. There's Ron Delvaux.
I was thinking of Thunderbirds 5. You know, the
Thunderbirds are go.
What about William Shatner's Rocket Man?
Yeah.
With the
FAB.
Chad, do you copy? Hello, Chad. We see the camera moving.
Yeah. He's alive. I can see him breathing.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, we'll work out our audio video here for our first-time callers. Who else is joining us now? Javier is here. We're representing. We got Dade and Broward County here. We got the South Florida connection going on here right now. We might as well start
in Miami-Dade. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to start a cartel here before you know it. So there he is, Javier. How are you?
How you doing, guys?
Buenas noches, amigo.
Buenas noches.
Speaking of that, I need to grab myself another cerveza fria. I'll be right back.
You better. How you guys doing? Good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Earlier today, Stevie was able to play with all his toys. Maybe he'll share some with us today, this evening.
Yeah, I've been playing with a lot of my bad toys lately. It's pretty cool. I'm happy that I learned a lot of new things.
Your bat toys in your bat cave?
Yeah, I got somebody in the group of the Apple group have a GS motherboard that it was broken. It was I think it had acid damage. The battery just leaked.
Oh.
So he offered the board for free because it was all ugly. So I got it, and actually I restored it, believe it or not.
Cool.
It's fun because I never done that. I thought it was dead too. I was going to send it to somebody, and then last night I just went in there and did a little with that. David will be very happy. That microscope that I bought.
Oh, yeah. The one you broke then.
Yeah, because it's a very, very small chip, and I couldn't see it very well. And I use a very thin tip on the soldering. And with that microscope, I just soldered one of the feet, and it worked.
Wow. Oh, that feels good.
I feel like a big guy now, but yeah, I know I'm not. Yeah. But at least I feel.
that feels good, though. You cannot take that. That feels great.
Accomplished.
Yeah. Definitely. And so is that what model GS is that? It's like a ROM 3?
The ROM 1.
ROM 1? Okay.
Yep. So
cool.
Yeah, now it's working. I'm very, very, very happy. And I actually have a couple of ROM 1 was leads that they were empty. So now I got one that is full now.
Well, I've got a little project that we'll be able to work on maybe at the club. It's that real beat up Apple IIe that I got for free from a guy from Belgium, actually. That thing was dead on arrival. I mean, there's good voltage going to the board. I checked the voltages, +5, -5, +12, -12 all over the board, but nothing happens. So I don't know if it's the CPU or,
I'm really bad at those things, so I'm going to learn a lot.
I mean, the board looks like it's in good shape. The case looks pretty beat up.
Oh, I can do that. I can work on that.
It's not broken. It's one chip, but it's, the keyboard looks good, except it's missing one key.
Yeah, we can buy one.
One key switch will have to be replaced. One key will have to be replaced. But, yeah,
that's a good thing about the Apple group. There's a lot of people that share a lot of knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, it's probably one of the most active groups I've seen in retro computing. I mean, across brands. It's very knowledgeable, very helpful group. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I heard also that new thing that they got, the applesauce, is going to be able to be used in Commodore and Atari eventually.
Oh, yeah.
So just for you guys to know, it's a hardware that you connect to an Apple drive, and it will be able to read, how do you call it, the nibs or I don't know the name.
I think it's the nibs, yeah, something like that.
Something like that. They read basically the ones and zeros and the electrical points of that. So it reads everything on the drive, on the floppy. And then it converts it, and well, it doesn't convert it. It just reads it, and you got an original copy. Even if it's protected, it makes a copy of it.
Yeah.
And copies the protection, copies everything. So that's very good because there's a bunch of floppies or games in Apple II that they haven't been able to be copied. And now with this, we have a backup finally.
Neat,
And does it
neat.
make an electronic copy as well, like a DSK file or anything like that? Or?
It's called WAS format. The format is called WAS format.
Okay, so it's
a big format. So
Right.
it's not like small files. It's a big file, like a 1 megabyte file. But I heard that it has like 10 passes each time it reads. It does it 10 times. So if it misses it at the first time, it redo it 10 times, and then it compares automatically.
Yeah, yeah.
And it heals itself, and it's very complicated and very, very cool.
Wow. Hey, I'm wondering, David Lafanus and Javier, you guys are familiar with other retro systems, so you're in some other communities. Do you guys know if like, let's say, Javier, you know the Apple community pretty well. Are some of the kind of icons of that community, are they still active like we have in the color computer community? Like we've got some of the living legends that are still hanging out with us. Do you have that in Apple too?
Oh yeah, we got WAS.
Yeah, WAS. Okay. Okay. You don't get much more legendary than that. So
yeah, you can beat that.
Well, how often does he talk to the community?
Well, he went to Kansas Fest like 5 years ago.
Okay.
The year that I didn't attend, that's the one.
Shame on you, right?
Yeah. But the other ones, there's this year. Well, this guy, I forgot his name. He's one of all the legends that he made a lot of programs, Hyperduino or something like that. And the Beagle Brothers, they go and talk also. Beagle Brothers are, programs that they made for. I think they did it for the Commodore too.
I don't know, but they made I know that they made a lot of utilities, right, for the Apple II. It's like
they were very good because they were self knowledge. It will teach you to program. It will show you the everything, the basic, the text, how they did it. So you not only play with it, but you learn to do it. And their programs were unprotected.
They were characters, those guys. Their manuals on their products were so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one. Hold on.
Good marketing.
Chad, are you able to hear us?
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Chad, do you hear us?
Chad.
You're in.
I wrote
greetings from the future.
Greetings from the future.
What are the winning lottery numbers?
I was a big fan of them.
On you.
Oh, which one do you have there, Javier?
Yep.
If only I knew those lottery numbers, that would be awesome. I could buy all the CoCos in the world.
Yep. I used all of their peaks and pokes guides and software.
Those were good.
A memory map.
So they have
you, Chad.
Yep. That I have one of those. Yep.
Hey, you got one of these, Chad?
And they got the ASCII values.
Yep.
From the internet, yes.
Is that the original stuff you've got there, Javier? Or is that a reproduction?
Yep. No, this is original.
Yeah, that's nice. The Pix and Pokes is a great,
I bought
great
them online for a long time. I've been collecting them for a while.
Yeah.
Just because I never been, when I was a kid, I used to save money and tell my dad to, every time he traveled to the US, to buy me one.
Yeah.
That was the only ones, originals I had for Apple.
They made a basic compiler.
Oh, yeah.
A line editor, which was really good, which I used. They had all sorts of things. They were
global program line editor. So it was mostly utility.
Yep, I have that.
Yep. Utilities, decode. I think this is Apple's program compactor and debugger.
Yep. Use that. Yep.
For basic writing, I love their utility called Program Writer.
Yep.
Really nice editor. With auto renumbering of lines, really gives you good editing control in both 40 and 80 columns. It's a good program editor.
Yeah,
the manuals are really good. They teach you a lot and they're fun. They got these little.
All the illustrations are like 19th century.
Exactly.
Etchings and wood cuttings and.
Yeah.
And they would just adapt it to their own information, their brand. So they were very funny. They were very, very knowledgeable, and they teach you a lot.
But otherwise, I think at K-Fest, there's quite a few, prominent even software and game writers that go there, like Burger Becky and a couple of others as well.
Burger Becky, she wrote back in the day, Leisure Suit Larry, I think it is.
Yeah.
And some of those.
Wasn't she also like the Space Invaders world champion?
Something, yeah. No,
something like that.
Yeah,
she didn't write it, but she was.
She wrote a lot of.
I went to New Jersey to one of the New Jersey computer conventions, the Trenton State Computer Festival, and they had creative computing there, and they had like 20 or 30 Apple IIs with a Space Invaders tournament running.
Oh yeah,
running the Apple II version of Space Invaders. Those were fun days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, actually, I think in the Commodore community there's a guy, one of the guys' name that keeps coming back. His name is Bill Hurd.
Oh yeah,
Bill Hurd was one of the original designers of the Commodore 64, Commodore 128. He did love the design of the Plus 4 as well. And the guy is still he's still in a lot of the meetings and does a lot of appearances and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's cool.
He was just at VCF East.
Oh, was he? Yeah, he's quite prolific. Yeah.
What magazine did like Commodore have?
Compute.
Like we had, we had a Rainbow.
Compute was the Commodore version of Rainbow.
Okay.
Hey, Bruce Moore says hi on Facebook, everybody.
Hey,
So basically, it was all just peeks and pokes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the Tramiel sons, I don't ever remember his name. But he had a couple of sons, but one of Tramiel's son, he's actually comes back. He's featured quite often at some of the big Commodore shows as well. So the son of the former owner and founder of Commodore, who himself was a senior level exec at Commodore before they moved over to Atari. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Tramiel was the big guy.
And I think that's it. Yeah. They had a couple of other Tramiel brothers, right, working in there.
Yeah, they were sons, I think. I don't know if they were brothers, but they were sons.
Weren't they also on Laverne and Shirley? Wasn't that Tramiel, Tremazel, Haas and Pepper Incorporated, something like that? It's the best I can do on short notice. Hey, Chad Edward in Aussie Town. We don't get to talk to you very often. We get to see you in chat sometimes, but how are you? And you got to meet Nick Marentes in person, didn't you, Chad?
Yes, Nick actually compiled my two favorite games for the CoCo. The CoCo 2, Donut Dilemma, and Rupert Rhythm, which ironically is his most hated game.
Yeah, right.
We met this time last year for coffee.
Wow. And how far away are you from Nick? Is it more than a boomerang throw?
1.5 suburbs.
Ah, that's not bad.
Because technically one suburb that I live next to is a suburb within a suburb.
Ah.
How many kangaroo jumps is that?
Yeah, quite a few. But it's straight. There's one connecting road which basically connects us. But I've been meaning to catch up with him, and he's been meaning to catch up, but we've just been so busy. Life just gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
Are you in Sydney?
No, Brisbane.
Oh.
Or Brisbane, as they pronounce it in American.
Yeah. Brisbane. Correct.
Yeah, I actually got my first CoCo 2 in 1986, Christmas 1986, from a Greek guy that lived in Brisbane. Years later, I got my CoCo 3 from a kid I went to school with who was another Greek kid. And then Nick is also Greek, and he comes from the same island as these other two kids.
Huh.
So there's a bit of a connection. I married a Greek. I've worked for Greeks all my life. I speak more Greek than my Greek wife.
Wow.
But I had 6 CoCos all up.
And what are you doing
Possibly
these
7,
days?
I think.
You have any CoCos hooked up now?
I got rid of all of them when I got married under duress.
So are you looking to get more?
We had many discussions about that, and we still have many discussions. I'm constantly showing her this page going, but that computer's from like 30 years ago. And I said, okay, show me all of the computers that you've had in your office over the last 20, 30 years, how many they've gone through and thrown out because they've gone to crap.
Right.
And said to her, look, they're worth a mint now. If we had held on to them, I could have just sort of drip fed them to the community and just made a bit of money here and there to try and sort of entice her, because the Greeks, once you mention money to a Greek, it's like, oh, yeah. Oh. But I really started learning wanted to learn to program because I wanted to be a programmer, but I suffer from a thing called dyscalculia, which is basically the mathematics version of dyslexia. So I struggled with algebra and things like that. Basic programming, no problem, but put machine code in front of me, it may as well have been written in Klingon. So, yeah, I decided not to pursue that, and I ended up getting into HR as account manager for 3 national recruitment agencies over here.
Very cool.
Currently, I'm just doing some fill-in work until the industry picks up again. I've actually got 3 potential jobs in the pipeline at the moment.
Do you have any CoCo emulators that you're using?
I do use the Mocha one, but I don't even have a PC here, because when I was in recruitment, we spent all of our time on a computer all day, every day. So the last thing we wanted to do when we came home was jump on a computer.
Yeah.
Just, as much as I love them, it's just you've been staring at that screen all day, just looking at names and numbers, and you're like, no, I can't do it. So, and we don't have the space. We're in a 2-bedroom unit, so it's pretty restricted. And the spare room is basically full of music from my DJing days.
So you were able to keep that, just not the CoCos.
Oh, no, there's been a lot of contention about holding on to that as well.
You didn't tell your wife who wears the pants in the family?
Tried that.
Mine does.
That never works.
Yeah, listen, woman.
Look,
your place is in the kitchen.
I've got her permission to say so.
I have headphones on. My wife can't hear that.
And you wake up in the hospispital.
Yeah, if I want to hear anything out of your mouth, woman, it's dinner's ready.
Welcome to Marital Talk Problems.
Considering this is the AfterDARK show,
go with me to Stowbridge. We'll ask her if that's the case.
Guy and a girl get married, and the guy hands his pants to the wife and says, "Here, put those on." Anyway, they're 10 times too big for her, and he goes, "That's right, I wear the pants in this family." And he gives them her underpants and says, "Try and get into those." And he says, "I can't." She goes, "That's right, and you keep that attitude up, and you never will."
One of these times, we got to have a CoCo talk with everybody's significant other on.
Yeah, Ron had suggested that.
That would be cool. My wife would enjoy it.
My father-in-law.
And he knows how to cry. Who do you think wins?
My father-in-law has got this great saying. He says between him and his wife, he says his wife makes all the small decisions, he makes all the big decisions, and he said I just haven't had to make a big decision yet. So that's the way they split it up.
That's gold.
I've been married for 44 years, and we just kind of work it out,
Yeah. I've had my 25th anniversary actually just a week ago.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I remember that. 25, yeah.
Yeah, we should have an episode, The Wives of CoCoTALK, right? Yeah. And we all have to leave the room. And they just start talking about, what the hell are these guys doing?
My wife can tell you about using VisiCalc on a Model 4 at a window company she used to work at.
There you go.
It was interesting. She said her first job at Crown Cork and Seal, they made cans. They manufactured cans. And she was assistant to the accountant. And they did everything by hand. And at the end of the month, they had to ship the totals of all the books and stuff via the mail to the headquarters somewhere.
Mm.
And they did everything by hand. And then eventually, as she changed jobs, they started with the Model 4s. Model 3 at first, 48K. They did business accounting on a large company.
It's hard to imagine, right?
Books, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, some of my earliest jobs. Well, my first job was working at Radio Shack. I always credit that as being my first job in the industry, right? But technically, I was in the computer industry, so I was a sales guy at Radio Shack. But after I got out of high school and was working in college and stuff, some of my earliest jobs were just doing data entry, because back then nobody knew how to turn on a computer. So if you knew how a computer worked and you could use a keyboard and you could read the screen and type, you had a job. And I was basically punching in information that was on paper, because everything was still being done on paper. So they were hiring humans to take the printouts or the paper forms and key them into the system. So a lot of my earliest jobs were just literally data entry jobs. And even then, like minimum wage was like $3.35 an hour when I was in high school. I was getting jobs doing data entry, $6 an hour, $8 an hour. I was making like triple what the normal pay was, just because I had that skill with knowing how to type on a keyboard, because nobody knew how to freaking type, so.
Stevie.
Yeah.
I actually chose typing as a course in high school, predominantly straight after I got my CoCo. And
yeah,
how I got into recruitment, I was actually hired as an admin assistant, and the manager said to me, mate, you do more work in a week than the other guy does in a month, so I'm going to give you a full-time job.
Wow. And a funny story about that was, I taught myself how to type on the CoCo with 2 fingers. So I was the fastest 2-finger typer on the planet. When I got to college and I had to learn how to type with the right, on a typewriter with the home keys and everything else, I failed typing the first time around because I didn't know how to type properly. I had to take typing twice because I had to break all my bad habits off the CoCo 2-finger hunt and peck,
Yeah, Ron, what do you have running on your computer there? I see.
I drew a hamburger.
Oh,
that's pretty nice.
That's nice burger.
Yeah.
What was the 6309 screen that you had earlier? Is that just
something I drew?
Oh,
I was a sign painter. I made signs for a living, and I used to, draw on the computer all the time. What I used to do is I'd go to a job and take video of the building that they wanted to sign on. And I'd come back home and I had my digitizer, my DS69. I hooked that up and digitized the picture of the front of their building, and then I drew the lettering on the building, and then was able to print it out on my DMP 110 and show them a copy of what it would look like with their sign on the building, which was way ahead of anybody else doing that.
That's amazing.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was fun to do. I was able to play with my computer for work, which was a very fun thing to do. So I also did, I used Deskmate to do invoices, and I'd print them out, and I'd have a copy of each one on many, many, many floppies.
Wow.
And, my wife would do the counting on, I think she used an accounting package because I had a simple business. It was just pretty much me and maybe one other guy sometimes. So it was pretty easy to keep track of the books and stuff. And at one time in the 90s, I had a color computer in the truck. I had
That's amazing.
I had a center console that I built, and I was able to put a monitor on it and screw it into the top of the centerpiece there, and then have the CoCo on there. And I used an inverter, and it worked. And I could print out invoices in the truck.
Luggable.
Yep.
Basically, you were Knight Rider.
Yep.
Knight Rider.
No, I would be a little bit nervous. I had to turn the monitor off when a cop come by because I didn't want, any ticket for distracted driving or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Jason, we're being asked what the Mario clone is. That's Princess Rescue on the 2600, right?
Right, it is. Yep.
That's the Chris Spry production, right?
Correct. Yes, correct.
He also made Zippy the Porcupine, which is the Sonic clone.
Right. Yep.
Now, this is the one, too, that Tom C. burned for you on an EEPROM, right?
Right. This is, I'm playing on real hardware, although I don't have it composite modded, so I'm running it through a VCR right now. But yeah, this is the one that Tom burned the Rob, because you can't buy this one anymore.
You got the cease and desist. Nintendo asked him to take it down off Atari Age, right? So,
well, they never came out and said that. Everyone just assumed that's what happened. So
okay.
But Zippy the Porcupine's still available. I haven't picked that one up yet. I've just been playing that on the RetroPie.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, my only issue with it, because you can hook up a Sega Genesis controller to play it, but it doesn't. It's backwards.
What, the A and B button are backwards, like jump and fire?
Because you use B and C, and on. On here, but B in this case, you can play any Atari game with B, and that's the regular button.
That's like
C,
the fire
additional button. So it's completely backwards, and it's really messing with me. So I'm trying to get past that, but I haven't yet. I was actually thinking about making an adapter to reverse
the buttons.
the two. Yeah.
Why don't you put a switch on it too, so you can always toggle it?
Well, actually, I was just thinking about making a little, a small adapter cable that just plugs in between the controller and the Atari.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Javier or David, have either one of you ordered the switcheroo cable, which converts the CoCo 3 to SCART and HDMI? Because Jason is the creator of that cable.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Yeah. Do you have access to SCART cables, connectors?
Yes.
Because I think you would be able to make those cables here in the U.S. The Apple guys, we're getting them all in Europe because there's nobody that makes them in the U.S. for the GS, for the Apple II GS to SCART. So that's a business opportunity for you.
Well, I don't have an Apple to test it on. That's my whole thing.
Well, we got some people here in the Florida Retro Club who do.
You're in Florida.
Send him
the test and let's replicate them. Yeah.
I'm telling you, actually, I can send you a cable and you can just replicate it if you want. I mean, I don't know. The only thing is that it takes 3 weeks for us to get the cables. They're pretty cheap. They're like $20, but they take a long time to come. So if it's feasible for you and if it's good, anyway.
Just go to my website, cocoman.biz, and hit the contact button and send me a message. Sure. We'll go from there.
cocoman.biz.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't get .com or .net. Well, I could. They were for sale for the low price. I think one was I don't know, $5,000. I think the other one was a bargain at like $4,000 or something. It was ridiculous. Whatever.
With the amount of cables you've sold, that should be no problem.
This isn't bomb threat or pop star pilot money now.
Soon to become Appleman.biz.
Appleman. Yeah.
I think that the name is already stolen.
Very well could be.
We could call Jason Golden Delicious.
Oh, as an apple?
Yeah, as an apple, yeah.
Like Washington or Granny Smith or anything else for that matter. So.
Yeah, Granny Smith.
Granny Smith. Granny Smith Reichert. That'd be a good name for an Apple clone. That'd be a great name for an Apple clone. Check out the new Granny Smith 2E.
There were apples. There was apricots, oranges. There had
pineapple.
Yeah.
Pineapple. I remember the pineapple.
Yeah.
Acorn.
I used to live in a pineapple under the sea.
No.
Apple tried to sue Woolworths Groceries over here for using a logo that looked like a half-eaten apple, and they said, God created the apple, you didn't.
That's right.
So there.
Amen.
Besides, who wants to buy a half-eaten apple anyway?
Right.
That's right. Got the cable here.
Okay, so that's the. What does the connector on the 2GS look like?
This is it.
Okay, it's like
it looks like
a
connector.
PC joystick connection or something.
Yeah, it's a DB19 on one side.
Okay.
Card on the other.
Connector, but I don't know if the pinout's the same.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, that would be easy to figure out with a meter.
Exactly. So I think it would be easy for you, and if we don't know anybody in the U.S. that do that, so we got two choices: New Zealand or Spain.
Wow.
So
I think Spain might be slightly closer.
Yes, and that's what everybody's using right now. So we buy this, and then we buy in Amazon a little box that converts.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we have for the CoCo. So we've got RGB to SCART for the CoCo, and then we have the SCART to HDMI box.
So if there you go, that
right
way.
here. Yeah.
If you do the cable, you're set.
Yeah, that's
It's
because
really good.
I've used this same box with. I have a SCART cable for my Super Nintendo. It works great with it too.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I did.
Javier, is that a lot better quality than the GBS 8000 interface?
It's from Earth to Moon. It's really, really good.
All right. What about compared to the Nishida radio stuff?
Exactly. So Nishida went to third place now. So first place right now.
Oh, really?
It's a BID HD. It hasn't been released yet. I got a beta right now. I can loan it to you later if you want to in the meeting. It's a new card that they come out with for the Apple II. That it's a card that you put in a slot, and it outputs to HDMI.
Oh, directly, huh?
Directly.
Oh wow!
It's
So what does it
awesome.
do? Does it like snoop the bus to pick up the video signal or something like that?
Actually, I'll take it out and I'll show it to you in a minute.
Yeah.
But the thing, what it does, I think it has Linux in there or something like that.
Oh wow!
It boots, and you can see Linux over there, and then it comes with an image of any Apple you want. Apple II, Apple IIGS, anything that has a slot. So it's not good for me because I'm a 2C guy, no slots. But anyway, it's a great card, but it's not yet. It's in production right now. They haven't done it, but they sent one for me to beta test. It's amazing.
Wow.
So quality is the best.
So that would be number one. Then number two would be the SCART.
Correct.
Number three, Nishida.
And then far away, number four would be GBS. GBS or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Hey Javier, one of these days I'm going to be.
So it seems that the SCART, from an availability standpoint, then is probably the best solution because Nishida, it's
Nishida's
hard
gone
to get.
Nishida's gone.
It's gone altogether.
Anymore.
Chet Simpson just joined.
Who just joined?
Chet Simpson.
Chet. Hey, Chet is here. Hey, Chet. Do you copy?
Look at that card.
Hey, well, when Javier comes back, I want to ask him if he's got any spare displays because I'm going to need one soon.
Tell me.
Hey, I have an Apple IIc I bought at CoCo Fest that's got a composite monitor, but I would like to get one of your contraptions eventually for it.
Yeah, I need to get first a bad one so I can take out the monitor and we can create it.
Yeah.
But when I heard about it, I'll let you know.
Yeah, or even if it's just one.
Yeah,
if it's not a refitted one, but just one, something that would work with that computer that would let me choose between like black and white and color and stuff like that.
Yeah, you need that. Let me show you the card.
Yeah.
I actually had a custom-built 6-way joystick port for both the left and right. My friend was a mad genius inventor. He invented the world's first self-flushing toilet at 15 in high school. Got a science grant and everything out of it. Amazing mind, but he joined a cult and went weird.
What the hell is a self-washing toilet? I'm really curious about that.
Self-flushing. I think.
Oh, self-flushing. Okay, self-flushing toilet.
Yeah, we have those. It's the future.
He could make a sound right here one.
That ran off a 555 timer chip.
Self-flushing toilet.
Yes. First in the world. He actually had a government grant. The government patented it for him.
Wow.
His name was Danny.
And whatever happened to that toilet? Did the government keep it under wraps just to not let the public have this, or?
No, everyone has it now. Most of those self-flushing toilets around the world, this guy invented it.
Oh, like you mean like the ones like when you go into like a public restroom and you walk away and it flushes automatically?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It runs off a solenoid that is he called it the flush solenoid, basically.
Is that similar to the flux capacitor by any chance?
Possibly.
Hello. It's a flushinoid.
A flushinoid.
Water goes 88 miles an hour.
you gotta get your urine stream up to 88.8 miles per hour.
Yeah, when it flushes, it goes, "Great Scott!"
Great.
Only when I have curry.
1.21 gigawatts. Great Scott.
What the hell's a gigawatt?
He invented a 6-way joystick coupling port for me because I had 2 deluxe, 2 standard joysticks, 2 electronic books, countless other peripherals. I had Nick's DigiScan, which eventually died. So I said, I need something that'll allow all of these to be plugged in without constantly changing them and potentially damaging the DIN ports. He goes, yeah, I'll make something for you.
Wow.
2 weeks later, came to my house and said, here you go.
Wow.
He also helped me write a program similar to CoCoMax, but not as good, obviously. I wrote a basic one in semi-graphics mode.
Oh, neat.
I wanted one on the CoCo 2, but I wanted to do it on the CoCo 3, but couldn't do it because of the... Oh, no, sorry, you end up using the set command.
Okay.
Basically, made a 64 by 32 screen app, I guess you could call it, utility.
Yeah.
And said, this is what I want, but I want it in high res. And he said, yep, let me do it. Let me do it. Basically, just utilize the 2-color mouse or the joystick. You could also do palette shifting with it as well. And because I saw Chet's waterfall demo, I got a copy of that. That's awesome.
Oh, neat. I haven't seen that one.
That's a port from an Atari ST that he did, and Chet also did a bouncing ball demo as well.
Okay.
It was a really, really good demo. It was a ray trace demo.
Oh, I think Ron Delvaux showed us that one recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that the bouncing ball was like the gold standard of what a computer was measured by at one point in time. You look at it now, it's like, dude, it's a freaking bouncing ball.
That's what made the Amiga famous.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3D rendering.
Yeah.
Well, it was all the checkerboard background and the striped ball, right? Like the fact that you can...
From what I'm being told now, it's the impressive part isn't what it looked like. It was being done in hardware, So I don't fully understand all of that, but yeah.
You mean the 2-layer one and the
yeah? There it is. There it is. Jason's got the bouncing ball demo right there.
Oh, that's a beefed up bouncing ball.
Oh, that's a different one.
That's ray traced, yeah. So you got the reflections going on there, everything, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
I'm thinking of the one that had a checkered background and the ball had stripes and it would spin this way and change.
This one.
That might be that's
the one.
That's Sockmaster's demo. Yeah,
But they had those back in the day too. I think wasn't that the traditional?
Yeah, it kind of became a benchmark or a standard because the Amiga made it famous. So the Amiga had its world famous. It was like a red and white checkerboard bouncing ball.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, that again at the time, even when I saw it when it was new, I didn't understand what was so impressive because visually it wasn't the most amazing feat of graphical prowess a computer could do. So I didn't understand what the hoopla was, but I'm told now that it was impressive on the Amiga because it was all done in hardware. And so it was the technology that made it work that was impressive, not necessarily the visual component of it. But for whatever reason, it became the thing. Every computer had to have a bouncing ball demo to prove it was cool,
Well, there's lots of math behind it with the rotation of the ball and stuff, right? Like it was very calculation intensive.
That's
so there was some
RGB
bouncing ball demo that I showed Activision right before when they were calling me in to maybe possibly do Shanghai. And I thought it was Sockmasters, but if you look at the timeline, people tell me that doesn't match up. The Sockmaster came after that, but
okay,
it was somebody's bouncing ball demo, and they had me bring in a Color Computer 3. It's like, oh, we're thinking about doing this thing on the Color Computer 3, so bring yours in. We want to see it. We want to see if this is actually worth doing, this Port of Shanghai. So I brought my CoCo 3 in, and I ran the bouncing ball demo on it. And so somebody came in, some technician came in to ask, the person who was interviewing me a question. And they looked over and they said, oh, yeah, the Amiga bouncing ball demo. Very nice, yeah. And she said, no, look again. That's a color computer. He says, that's a color computer? So, he was really surprised. He didn't think the color computer could do that.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't know we were doing things with a color computer. And she said, well, we are now.
And the rest is history.
I just put in the chat for you a link to an Apple IIc to VGA adapter.
Apple IIc to VGA adapter.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that Apple IIc to VGA. There's one that's made by Plamen in Bulgaria. That's really good. Is that the one from A2 Heaven?
One from A2 Heaven.
Yeah, A2 Heaven. Yeah, that's Bulgaria.
$85, huh? Is that what you use in your setup, Javier? Is that what you?
It's an adapter.
Okay.
So it goes from the Apple IIc to a VGA.
Okay.
And the other one that I showed you is the new one that hasn't been released.
Okay, so I'm looking at this right now. It looks like a little box. So it's got the one side connection.
Yep.
And then the other side's probably got the VGA on it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it connects to it does a multiple mode. It's a nice.
Okay, so it supports like a artifact emulation and everything else.
Yeah.
The color part is this little button over here.
Okay.
You see where my finger is, and you click on it, and it changes from green to amber to color.
Okay.
And different modes.
Is that what you use in your monitors that you make?
What I do is I take this one, I take it off, and I put it inside the monitor.
Okay, so you take it out of the box. You just put the guts in there. Okay.
Yep.
They copied that design off Ed Snyder.
Yeah.
That's neat. Yeah, so that's a problem. Like what you were saying earlier, David, when you want to start collecting these systems, one of the challenges is, well, let me try to get one of every model. And now that I have that, now I need one of every friggin' accessory to be able to use it in the 21st century. Like just me having this Apple IIc, I know there's at least 4 things I'm gonna have to buy. I need a hard drive or floppy drive emulator. I need a display adapter, and I don't know what else I'm gonna need for it.
Joystick,
So it's like
pile of money.
Yeah.
This is a sneak peek of what the spouses will be talking about.
Sneak peek of what now?
This is a sneak peek of what the spouses will be talking about.
Oh, right. Yeah.
All the money that my husband wastes on that hobby.
Well, if they knew about it, they could talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Ooh, yeah.
Right.
Well, I said to my wife, would you rather me spending all my time at home sitting on a computer, or would you rather me spending that money on other women?
What'd you say?
He just went
or
quiet.
He woke up at the hospital.
And she said, I'm thinking.
I'm thinking.
But you know what? It also sometimes happens even within the same brand. Like I was just telling you in the earlier part of the show that I'd purchased the Commodore Plus 4. Now the Commodore Plus 4 came after the VIC-20, came after the Commodore 64. And it was kind of a pseudo business machine that Commodore was trying to launch right before Jack Tramiel left Commodore. Actually, there's a picture of Jack Tramiel holding the Plus 4 at the CES show, and he left Commodore literally 2 days after the picture.
Wow.
And the Plus 4 is completely incompatible with the Commodore 64. The software, is not compatible. None of the accessories are really compatible. The joysticks are not compatible. They've changed the connectors. It's another processor in there. It's completely incompatible with any of the other models of the line. It's quite so. Now that I've gotten that, I need to buy different joysticks for it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
one thing after the other. Different power connector. Even the power supply had like another. I had the square connector instead of the usual round connector. They changed it all. Go figure. I mean, probably to sell more accessories, but
yeah,
you know,
see how well that worked, right?
Yeah.
The one nice thing is that like 80% of all 8-bit systems would use the Atari style joystick connector back in the day. You know, the Atari 2600, the Commodore used it, the ColecoVision used it. It's like everybody was using that Atari. Sega Genesis used it, you know, so it was like that 9-pin connection was used by so many things that it was, you know, that was at least one nice, you know, universal connector.
Except the Commodore Plus 4.
Yeah.
That's the one of
that's the one that had the
not
weird
use that.
the arrow keys look like actual arrows too, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, Jim Brain showed us some of that when he was at the Commodore Retro Expo and I think at VCF Midwest. We said, "Hey, Chad, your neighbor just showed up, Nick Marentes." Hey, good day, Nick.
Hey, Nick.
Ease of use.
Ease of use, Nick. Hey, Nick, what do you think about putting your game on a cartridge? You ready to do that?
No way. That's the worst thing.
What got Nick all fired up last time? Were we talking about Star Wars or something else? And Nick just got full of piss and vinegar.
They wrecked number 8.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the cartridge. I just wondering what the cost would be. That's all.
Yeah.
How about an all-color mode game?
Sorry.
An all-color mode gimme.
Say again?
He's speaking Australian. You can't understand him.
That's right. Yeah. Not standing on your
A 256 all-color mode gimme chip.
Oh, right. Yes. I'm so used to hearing the American accent. That one caught me off guard.
Didgeridoo.
Someone needs to work on their Australian accent.
Yeah.
That's right. No, yes.
Well, I could talk in American if you really wanted.
That's pretty good.
That sounds like my Texas accent.
Yeah, that's the guard on CoCo Forever.
That's what I was referring
an American accent.
Yeah.
So I said, well, Willie went down the creek.
All right, I think this is what.
Oh, good Lord.
And she goes, why does everybody go in a southern accent?
Someone's been watching too much Huckleberry Finn.
It's just so easy.
He took his accent lessons from the Dukes of Hazzard.
David Ladd,
It's the easiest
I have
accent
one
in the
thing to
world.
say.
Cuff 'em and stuff 'em.
Really?
David Ladd.
Surprise.
You're too kind.
Hey, David, what you been up to lately?
Oh, I'm much happier breaking stuff.
Oh.
I'm so going to hurt you.
Oh, so David, did you hear what Chad said? He was quoting you from one of your videos. So say that again, Chad.
Really?
I'll sound like him, actually.
What is that? One of his commandos or what was
It
it?
was Predator on a CoCo
Predator.
3. I think Nick Marota was just watching that one earlier.
Really?
Really?
Oh, it is awful.
The first time I saw that, I was pissing myself for like 20 minutes straight. I actually think I shared it to the page. That's how much it brought joy to my day.
So has anyone found the 256 color mode yet?
Oh, that's old news.
Yeah, it's hidden in the floppy controller.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think we did. I think you beat 9 colors of shit out of the guy that posted that, though.
Only games on cartridge can use the 256 color mode.
The 256 color mode was found. It was hidden in a Tandy 1000.
Yeah, it's exclusive to OS 9.
I'm considering making monitor stands for the CoCo.
Okay.
To match the Tandy 1000 HX or EX, whichever one it was.
Right.
Just wondering if there was a market for that.
You mean this one? Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can show you. Come on, the camera.
Yeah, that one. Tandy 1000 EX.
After Dark.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, this is one that I found new in the box not a long time ago, actually. So this is solid wood here, and then kind of a U-shaped metal bracket.
Yeah.
And I'm considering manufacturing those for the CoCo market.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find. Hold on. Let me show you guys this. This is.
So would it be basically a reproduction or just a new interpretation of it?
Either or. Sticks of one, half a dozen of the other, depending on what's more viable financially.
This is the original box for it, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's neat. A little slice of history right there. That's the Tandy stand, but I think the CoCo 3 would fit under there too.
It's actually it works great for a Tandy for the CoCo 3.
I have several generic ones in metal that look just like that. But
It's no good if you have a multi-pack, though.
That was going to be my question too, Nick.
Well, the way they showed it was basically you had the CoCo would be under the thing, and the multi-pack would be off to the side of the monitor stand like a sidecar, and then
that doesn't fit though.
And then they had the CM8 and then the double floppy to the right of the CM8 on the shelf. That's kind of how the catalog picture always showed it.
Yeah, with that monitor stand here, definitely the multi-pack will not fit underneath it.
Well, no, it won't fit underneath it. It has to fit off to the side, outside of the stand. Side. Yeah, so the CoCo 3 would be underneath it, but the multi-pack's like a sidecar off to the side of the stand.
But the CoCo 3 is a fair way to the right because there's also the metal foot. So the feet on the CoCo have to go around it. So it's either sticking out too much or doesn't,
Well, that metal foot is very flat. I don't think the multi-pack will have a hard time fitting.
Well, I mean, if you're going to make it period correct and everything else, it needs to be able to support the weight of a CRT because they make like monitor stands now for people who have laptops and stuff and they just want to put a computer monitor on above their laptop, but they would not hold like the weight of probably even a 14-inch CRT, because the old tube screens were much heavier than a flat panel is now. So
that's also what I was considering doing, real metal or doing something more modern as well, considering the weight of it. David and I were chatting extensively when he purchased that monitor stand online on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And we were just I think I sent him some links for some DJ laptop stands that might have been suitable, but it all depended on how top heavy they'd be.
Yeah,
exactly.
If you make it only as wide as the CoCo, that may work because then the CoCo will fit nicely underneath and have it so the multi-pack then is the part that sticks out.
Okay, is that David doing that right now?
Yeah, so this is the monitor stand. I'm sorry, there is a Commodore monitor on there right now, but if you excuse that faux pas. So this is, see, that the thing is, at this level here, you really would have to put the CoCo 3 completely off center for it to fit underneath.
Yeah.
See, like that.
Well, that's
but
why
it's off center to the stand at that point.
If you make the stand as wide as the CoCo, then that's
And so that's the Tandy 1000 stand, but there was a CoCo 3 stand too.
Maybe.
Now, the other question is, how many people have those plexiglass things that go under the CoCo and the multi-pack that
to hold them together?
I made one,
Yeah,
my original monitor stand was made out of plywood.
Yeah. Tim Lindner was selling them at CoCo Fest a couple of years ago, made out of wood, I think. thin wood, and it was like a little template that it held the things together so they wouldn't separate.
Yeah, we used the rubber feet would slot into holes, and the
Yep.
That's so you don't.
Guess we could make a wider version. Make a wider version that
stand for the CoCo 3.
There was a monitor stand for the CoCo 3 specific.
It was plastic, and it had 4 legs at each corner, though.
Yeah, I have one right here.
I do remember, one of the pictures, one of the ads that I saw for the CoCo 3, I actually used this Tandy 1000 stand on the ad itself. So I wasn't sure if there was one.
But you know, what made those impractical back in the day was if you had a 512K CoCo 3, the heat couldn't vent that well because the stand was covering the ventilation hole. Now with things like the boomerang, you don't have to worry about that because you're not generating as much heat from the CoCo 3.
Yeah.
My old 512K card, the disto, was generating so much heat, the top of the case actually melted.
Wow. Hey, has Chet Simpson gotten his sound working yet? He's been here for a while. Chet, you with us?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good. How about you do?
We had your partner in crime on this afternoon, Eric.
Yeah, I was stopping by to tell you how to buy his game.
He never told us the story that you and Eric had, the challenge you had about making Gold Runner on the CoCo 3, and that turned out to be faster.
Oh yeah, I don't talk about that either.
Yeah, I know the story, but I don't know if anyone else is interested.
Awkward silence.
I'm interested.
Crickets.
I'm interested.
I should let Chet explain it. Oh, he's muted.
Yes, I am muted. You mean the Gold Runner 2000 stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that started out as a discussion between Eric and I when we were at Microware, getting a game on the CoCo, and the fact that it couldn't be done, and all of this. There's a lot of trash talking. So I spent some time and put it together, and ended up releasing it for the CoCo Fest. Unfortunately, he wasn't. It didn't quite meet his criteria, so technically the challenge was not met.
Was it just you missed the deadline or something like that? Because I read about it on Curtis Boyle's website.
No, there were a few things that were missing from the game. Okay.
Based on his standards, so it's kind of an unfair challenge when he sets all the criteria.
No, not really. If they'd been unfair, I wouldn't have accepted them in the first place.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've played the game. I did a video review of it a year or two ago. It's pretty cool. It's looks like Jason's playing it right now, and the new game he showed us today for the iPhone looks really cool.
Oh yeah, the Loot Raider. That's a really, really nice game. I like the controls on the mobile device. It actually is a very controllable game. So yeah, you should go buy it.
Yeah, if I had an iPhone, I would. I don't have an iPhone. I'm waiting for the Android version to come out.
So you can pre-order it.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll get the Android version too because I have an Android phone.
I'll get it. Android.
Yeah. So
I've got to go, guys.
All right, hey Chad. Thanks for being here, Chad.
No worries, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Nick, catch up for coffee.
Yeah, will do.
Just throw a boomerang at him; he'll catch it.
Yeah, that's it. But I got family coming around shortly, so we've got to entertain them.
Hey, tell that Greek wife of yours who the man is in this relationship. All right.
I'll try. Well, she's half Greek, half Asian, so sometimes she listens and sometimes she doesn't. So
there you go. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Take care, Chad.
Hey guys, I was wondering, sorry to come back to the question of the monitor stand there. Can anybody show or find what you think is the original CoCo 3 stand? Be very intriguing. The one picture that I did find, and I think a lot of you guys are familiar with this. This is the Technicolor Computer 3 ad where you see the skid.
Yeah, the two floppies.
playing on it.
He's got a cassette under there, not a.
Well, but that's the Tandy 1000.
Yeah,
you're looking for the one with the 4 legs.
No, that one has the U-shaped.
I don't think it was the CoCo version with the 4 legs.
Okay, that's the one I have. There is one of the, if you look in the old Radio Shack catalogs, one of the later ones, that's the stand that they have listed.
So
with
Ron Delvaux showing something there in the background. But that, again, with that whole, that looks a little bit less wide, so that might allow the multi-pack to fit off to the side.
So Ron, the one you're showing there, is that the CoCo 3 one?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so it's...
Yeah, that's the CoCo 3 one.
But what's the difference with the 1000 version?
It has 4 legs at each corner. It's plastic.
I'm not looking. I must not be looking at the right picture.
It's wider. Yeah, the 1000 HX one is wider, I guess, because it's got room for the floppy drives off to the side there. I'm thinking the one that Ron's showing, because it's got the CM8 monitor on there. There's really no room for a floppy drive next to that monitor on that shelf.
There is if you move it to the side, though.
Yeah, that's what you see here. I don't see the difference with this one.
Oh, no. Okay. Maybe it's not.
Yeah,
it's a different angle.
That's the same as the one Ron's showing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that one's it's just behind the legs of the multi-pack.
Okay,
yeah,
so I got you. So you got like the floppy cartridge in there and the ribbon cable going up to the floppy drive. So I don't know why. Maybe my memory is distorted, but I thought there was one that also showed the multi-pack, but I could be wrong because the picture that David Lafanus is showing is the one that I do remember seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
problem. So I think that's this one here, but the problem with the multi-pack is that it's really, I mean, the only way to make the multi-pack fit is really if you put the CoCo 3 off center, below the stand,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, because otherwise, with the height differential here, you have very little clearance below that.
I don't think Tandy designed it so that you could have a multi-pack as well. I think their idea was just the CoCo with a disc cartridge and the floppy on the ledge.
They foresee the SDC.
Well, yeah, for the SDC, it'd be fine, but multi-packs are out.
And Ron, how do you have your monitor in that angle? It's very interesting. You've got it at really nice angle there.
It's a Magnavox. It's one of those.
It's got a stand on the front that flips.
Yeah, you see the stand.
That's a pretty high stand.
It folds back if you want it flat, but you can prop it up by pulling out the stand.
Right. It's probably too bright. But
no, that's good.
This is the 8CM515 monitor.
Huh. Yeah, it seems like Magnavox was the company that made most of that crap, and they just relabeled it for everybody else.
With a flat screen these days, you could just get a monitor arm, take the stand off the flat screen, attach it to the arm, and clamp that to the desk.
What's nice about this one is I can do composite or RGB or green.
Oh, neat. Look at that. It's got a simulated green screen on there, huh?
Yep.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the Apple IIc I bought came with a Magnavox green monochrome monitor that came with it. And I actually want to plug that into a CoCo. I just want to see, a CoCo on a green screen. I think it's going to look kind of cool.
When I first got CoCo, my TDP 100, I used it on a Magnavox Gorilla Banana monitor.
Yeah, my white CoCo 1 that I had back in the day, I had a composite mod for that, and I had a Magnavox Amber composite monitor on there. And so
can I share a screen? I've got a picture of the other stand here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Please
ahead,
do.
Hang on. Let's see. And
I think I have a picture of it here too, also, if it's the one I'm thinking of.
There we go. You see that picture?
Yep. That's the one.
It.
That's the 1000 HX stand. Yeah. Oh, that's one with the 4 legs.
They sold that one, but it's not. It could work on a CoCo, but again, no multi-pack.
Oh, if you go into the chat in Zoom, I actually put a link to a picture I have of one with a CoCo on it.
Yeah, so it will work, but it's got a problem.
They actually did in later catalogs have that listed with the CoCo and actually had the CoCo on it.
Yeah, it does. It does fit. I think I had one of those.
I have one of those.
Yeah, I'm showing it off right here, Jason.
It's all made out of plastic. The one with the 4 legs.
Plastic, yeah.
Yeah, I'm showing it off right now on my screen.
Where's the other ones? I'll try and unshare. Hang on.
Yeah, if you click on that, it'll get bigger, Stevie.
That's what she said.
And the middle ones, the middle bracket was quite strong, but with a CRT on it, it still wobbled. The mono, a big CRT sitting on it, still had a wobble to it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the ones with the 4 legs, it didn't wobble; it was stable. But yeah, you had.
There's no multi-pack room here.
Yeah, the multi-pack clearance is still the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's mine.
Well, I'm trying to think if somebody had to redesign a new one. It would really have to be. I mean, the only way to do that would be to have a very narrow stand, basically just the width of the monitor, that would fit square on top of the CoCo, so that the multi-pack would still be completely clear to the right, but at least you wouldn't have off-center situation here.
Yeah, which is just an abomination.
So it would just have to be the width of the CoCo 3 itself, really.
The floppy would probably have to sit on the same level as the CoCo, but maybe on the left.
Yeah.
We need a multi-layer stand here. That's what we need.
Adjustable. Yeah.
You know what would be cool? Here's just an idea. But what if somebody made a multi-pack that was like the same width of the CoCo that could go like on top of the stand underneath the monitor? So you had this little ribbon cable that went to this multi-pack, and you could load cartridges into the front of it.
The front, okay.
A front-loaded multi-pack that could go underneath a monitor. It wouldn't need to be that tall because it just needs to be the height of a cartridge, basically. And so
you could put your disk drive interface and serial and stuff on the back, and here I have your one cartridge port on the front.
Yeah. That might be kind of cool. The one that would work with a monitor stand, and it would actually act as a little second shelf for your CRT, so your CRT could sit on top of the multi-pack, on top of the monitor stand.
I'll show you my stand if I can just get the video to work somehow. Hang on. How do I turn on the video? God.
Jay Brevin says a stand with long jack screw feet. Was that like a height adjustable one?
Okay. There's my CoCo.
Uh-huh.
It's back to front. I don't know why it goes back to front on the video, but yeah. So there's my CoCo, and I just got a piece of shelving, got these screw-on feet from the hardware, screwed them on, but it's high enough to have a multi-pack
underneath it, yeah.
And the cartridge is sticking up. It does mean the monitor is up higher, but it's got room under there. I haven't got a multi-pack, but there's enough room there to have a multi-pack, and
it would clear.
Honestly, you need about, I've already measured this, to the original multi-pack with the cartridge, you need about 12-inch clearing. You need about a foot above the thing.
Because check out that height.
Yeah, you need a decent amount of height.
Now I've got 23 centimeters. What's that in
I don't know. In America, we don't give a shit about that.
It's just short of 2 feet.
Yeah, it's
no.
Let's see. I don't know if I'm pointing the camera correctly. I'm trying to do.
Hey Siri, how many inches is 23 centimeters?
Now, how many centimeters are in?
Bit less than 10 inches.
Like 10 inches.
10 inches. I think a 12 inches is about up to here, which is a bit high.
23 centimeters equal 9.055 inches.
That's how big mine is.
That's what I tell my wife all the time. I said, hey, baby, I got 23 centimeters for you.
Well, then
Now-
you're falling kind of short there, Stevie.
Yeah, now get back in the kitchen and make me a meal, bitch.
Get back in the kitchen, make me a pot pie.
I posted a link in the chat, the Zoom chat, to a stand that looks similar to the Tandy one. Take a look, guys.
This would
So
not
which
be
one
a
is
show
that?
to show
How do we
them
get there?
No.
In what chat?
The Zoom chat.
Oh, the Zoom has the chat. If you click on the little chat bubble in Zoom, it has a little chat window that you can open
Oh
up.
yeah, that's not a bad one.
You know, under each of my monitors, I have one of those switching things. You see the lights down there?
Yeah, what is that?
Actually, it's better
Oh,
to
the
see
switching
that one
things.
over
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Those are great. Yeah.
Yeah, see the lights?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and they lift the monitor up just enough to go over the computer.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
So, Ron, what's the difference between those two CoCos there? Are they two CoCo 3s or?
No, one's a CoCo 3, closest one here. This one is a 2.
Ah, okay.
Two,
So
and
CoCo-
that's got a composite mod on it, so that I use I don't know, it's a Tandy monitor. I don't even know which number it is. RGB.
CM8?
RGB. No, it's a funky.
CM5.
I don't know. Look at the.
Oh, which the Tandy one RGB, the one they had for the PC was a CM5.
There. I gotta take this off so I can move it. It's strange.
It is a weird logo there.
No, that's another one. Yeah, that's one.
That is Tandy, though, huh?
Yep,
Yeah.
Tandy.
But what sort
I'd
of
have to.
running there?
I don't know what it is. There's not enough light. The door came off.
No, not the wrong cam.
Which project?
Well, if the door came off, then it's a CM8.
No, it's not a CM8. There, it worked. I don't know what it is. I had it on. Look at the logo there.
It's the Tandy one.
Yeah.
Or Intertan.
Intertan?
Keep switching.
Is that the Intertan logo?
I don't know. What is it?
Oh, it might be.
It's got an I and a T.
I think it is.
Is it? What is that?
Yeah, there's
Intertan.
What do you know about it?
It's Canadian.
Eh?
and then see Paul has the picture of the
from
CoCo
Quebec?
with the stand from the catalog.
Yeah, there it is there. So Paul Fiscarelli showing that one. Yeah, so it looks like that's
RGB 11.
RGB 11.
Color
So
monitor.
It's looking like those would allow for a CM8 and a half-height floppy, but there's just no provisioning for MPI in those monitor stands. So Chad, if you want to make something where it'll be the exact width of the CoCo 3, high enough for ventilation, and to a point where the multi-pack can fit off to the side properly.
I have I posted another link in the chat to the ones that I have. I have the Allstop stands. At the top, the monitor stand is perforated, so it lets the CoCo 3.
Yeah. I have ones like that too. I'll show that off here in a second. But the problem with that is I don't think that would support a CRT. These are lightweight, like aluminum or alloy type metals. I don't think that's going to hold a CRT.
Yeah, but you all, well, it does. Mine does. But you all are using VGA monitors with the S-card and the switch anyway, aren't you? A lot of you?
Even if it did, a CoCo with the multi-pack wouldn't fit because the width of the metal foot.
Yeah, the foot would be in the way. Yeah.
I don't have a multi-pack, so I've never tried it.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that there's no monitor stand that really takes into consideration the classic multi-pack. And even the new multi-packs, which are different form factors, would still be a problem with having to play leapfrog over a leg like that, you know.
She said.
What happened to Ron?
I'm all gone.
He's he's
Sounds windy in there.
Showing off his propeller hat now.
Yeah, there it is.
By the way, I wanted to show you that I've been modifying some joysticks, and I saw the joysticks that you guys use.
Oh yeah, that's the Craft Deluxe joystick. Yeah.
Yep. So what I do is I modify them because they are for PC, and I just change the connector for a.
Okay. And other than that, it's the signaling is the same.
Yep. Well, I changed the signaling to be compatible with Apple too, but
okay,
it works.
Nice.
Is that the same one as the CoCo Deluxe joystick?
I suppose
it looks the same.
Yeah, mechanically it is. It was made by Kraft, but from what I understand, electronically there are some differences.
Okay.
The pots are wired differently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
the range on the pots is different.
I can't show them because I don't have a camera on my laptop, but I have several joysticks that are dual Apple and IBM, and both connected on it. You just plug it in together and it works.
I'm saying it's electronically different between the CoCo and the IBM.
And this is a 2-button.
Well, originally the IBM used the CoCo joysticks.
That's my question.
The PC Junior did.
Are they use pots or they use switches?
The original PC used CoCo joysticks, I remember.
The color computer uses a pot. It's basically a variable resistor.
They both have pots, but they're wired differently.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So that's the kicker. They're both analog but wired differently.
Yeah, and Kraft made them all. Kraft made the Kraft joystick for the PC, and Kraft made the deluxe joystick for the CoCo. And again, physically they look the same, but circuitry-wise, there were some differences in the CoCo versions because it was basically a variable resistor on the potentiometer.
Right.
That was the voltage was read by the digital analog converter, and that's how it knew what values were coming from there.
Is the Kraft one analog digital as well?
Again, I don't know how it worked outside of the CoCo.
Does the Kraft one have switches in the bottom to switch from analog to? Oh no, I guess it's always analog.
Yeah, they're the same.
The Apple and the IBM work the same way too.
Yeah.
Those switches just made a return to center.
Yeah.
Do you have 2 switches? 2 buttons?
At the bottom switch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing here.
Bob Rosen used to sell what he called blue
2 switches.
He used a Radio Shack Blue Project box.
Ron, your microphone's killing us right now. You're breathing really hard into your microphone.
Okay, it moved.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bob Rosen used to make what he called bloom sticks. He would use that blue Radio Shack Project box and the buttons off the parts shelf, and he'd get 2 arcade quality joystick pots, and he would build up. We'd have someone make joysticks, and he would sell them at Spectrum Projects. Because the Radio Shack joysticks would break pretty easily.
Yeah. I hated the original Black Beauty joysticks at the time because they were not really conducive to a lot of arcade games. But looking back, I really appreciate them now. Like when I first started making CoCo videos, and I was using emulators, and I had to use like a Xbox 360 controller on a PC through an emulator. Even though the Xbox 360 was still an analog thumbstick, it just didn't respond the way the CoCo stick does, and it wasn't registered. All the accesses and all the values weren't registered. It would never pick up on the corners and stuff. And so I was really finding when I got back into CoCo 3 or 4 years ago that I became very nostalgic for the very fluid kind of 360-degree range of motion you had on those old analog Black Beauty joysticks. And so there's something very elegant in them and the simplicity of that design now.
It's perfect for double back.
Yeah.
This black joystick has
past level 1 in Popstar Pilot.
I have the Wicco trackball that I like in certain games.
Yeah, that's the Black Beauty there with the metal stick before they went cheap and made them plastic.
Well, I mean, those things are built like tanks here.
I love those, David.
This one has TDP 100.
This is literally almost arcade quality stuff.
Oh yeah. I got one.
That was only one button, right?
I got the one that Nick has.
Well, there's 2. There's one on the base and one at the tip of the stick.
No, sorry, the Black Beauty Tandy one.
The Black Beauty only had one button.
Yeah, well, Wicco made joysticks and trackballs for the arcade industry. So any of the joysticks that they made were arcade quality.
Yeah, I mean, it's these things.
I remember that stick too, though.
I wouldn't say that one analog one for the CoCo was arcade quality. It was the one that angles out and then narrows up towards the top. I thought it kind of sucked, but
The Witco?
yeah.
Or you can get one of these adapters from what's his name?
Richard Lorbieski, the digital analog. Yeah.
So then, CoCo plug on this end, and any Atari or Amiga, Commodore 64 joystick would plug in on the other end.
Yeah.
They had those back in the day?
They had adapters.
The circuit's been available.
Yeah, Witco made an adapter you could buy.
Yeah, Wico had a dual joystick adapter. I used to have one, and then a couple magazines published the circuit.
Yeah, this has become show us your joysticks here. And
Yeah,
that's the one
you guys show me yours. I'll show this one. Has anybody seen this guy here?
Witco had a single as well.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that red-handled one is the one I thought sucked. It's a slow throw.
The red-handled one? Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is this little one here is the TAC 2 by Suncom.
Yeah, yeah.
That thing is built like a tank. I would say even better quality than the Wico joystick.
Wow.
It's a lot shorter.
Okay.
Very, very robust. I mean, the mechanics of that are really bulletproof.
It should be a shorter throw, shouldn't it?
But that doesn't use potentiometers, isn't it, David?
No, it doesn't. Just pure contacts.
Okay.
Good for Twitch games.
Yeah, and one of the fascinating things about those TAC 2s, a lot of them, when you buy them, they don't work anymore. And the reason is that the contacts are made by some brass plates that get very oxidized. So usually people, they try them, they don't work. You open it up and you slightly polish with a very fine, great sandpaper. You polish those brass plates and they're like brand new.
Wow.
They were like.
But when you buy them, they're
right?
very oxidized. So that's a great little joystick.
Same joy, different knob.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to know about knobs, don't they?
Actually, they're like butt plugs.
Well, good night, everybody.
Well, Grant should know all about those.
I fell on it. I slipped.
That degraded.
I'm not
quickly.
touching that one.
That's what she said.
Leave it sitting on their chair.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Oh, Jesus.
I think that red one is probably better for that. It's got a better.
And now we're saying, show us your brass balls. Is that what we're doing now?
Yes, because we want them to roll away.
Show us your sticks to show us your balls. So.
There are. There's mine right there.
Ball. Yeah.
Do they have vibrating feedback?
Not back then.
That reminds me of an old joke. What do you call a dog with 8-inch steel balls and 6-inch legs?
Anything you want?
Sparky.
No.
Oh.
The good old days when mice had steel balls, right?
Heavy steel balls.
Heavy steel balls, right? You couldn't pick them up off the freaking table.
Boy, it sounds like it's time for a commercial break, doesn't it?
Thank you.
Look,
Yes,
Ron
you're too
Delvaux
kind.
has a
And
steel
thank
ball.
you.
I have two.
Please don't show us.
Ron, you got 2 balls, Ron? Is that what you're saying?
Right here.
Ron's got 2 steel balls.
And
That sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, he's holding them up closer to the camera so we can see them better.
Was that mice for what model? Was that for? That's CoCo mice?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, the first
Ron,
CoCo mouse was a black one with a single button, and then there was a deluxe one that had 2 buttons.
What application? What programs ran with that?
None.
None.
Well,
like
it was so a paint program would use it. There was a game for the CoCo 1 and 2 called the Interbank Incident. Yeah. And then and the thing with the CoCo 1 and 2, they didn't have enough pins on the joystick port to read a second button. So the CoCo 3 could read 2 buttons because there was an extra DIN connector on the joystick input. So that's when the deluxe 2-button mouse came out. That was all. So CoCo 3 and Tandy 1000 peripherals were compatible, I believe.
Steve.
Yeah.
The CoCo 2 did have the extra button.
Oh, it did?
Yes.
Okay, but not the CoCo 1.
I can't say that for sure. When it came out, it didn't have the second button. I don't think they added the 6-pin connector until either late in its life or when the CoCo 2 came out.
Okay.
You want me to look at my Model 1 over here?
Yeah, it was very uncommon for 2 buttons to be utilized on a CoCo 1 or 2, though, from what I recall. It was more of a CoCo 3 thing.
And they would just plug in the same connector as the joystick?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's literally what it was. It was an upside-down joystick, really. Because the joystick was just a 2-axis pot, you know.
So it's kind of the same concept. This is the Commodore Model 1351, which basically was introduced primarily with the Commodore 128. It's also a 2-button mouse, and same thing. It would connect also straight into the straight into one of the joystick connectors.
Hold the mouse down so you can see the ball.
It looks just like a Amiga mouse, but it's got a different
Turn it
connector.
upside down.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, it's hard to tell the difference with the tank mouse from Amiga, except this one says.
That was still a metal ball, but just a rubber coated one?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, where ours were just bare metal. Yeah. At the time, that was original, old school mice balls, you know.
Yeah, this is like the same one you would still find in the 90s here.
Yeah, and you always had to like clean the crud off of the wheels inside there and
clean
stuff.
the little wheels,
scrape
You
off
didn't
all
put that in your mouth, did you?
Oh, I've seen people do that. Oh, ew.
What, to clean it?
Why would you have to bring up putting balls in your mouth?
Well, if you ran it across chocolate, I guess it wouldn't be bad.
And what do we call that, David?
Yeah.
David, what do we call that?
Not sure.
No, the other David.
David Ladd.
David Ladd.
I'm sure you'll fill us in.
I was hoping you knew the term.
Or is that Phil? Yeah.
It's called teabagging, David. Teabagging.
Oh my God.
So, but to answer your question, as far as like an entertainment thing, I don't know that the mouse was, at least from my own experiences, the only thing I used a mouse for in the CoCo 1 was the Interbank Incident, because that was kind of a point-and-click graphic adventure. Now, I never got into the I never got into the CoCo art program, so I'm sure some other people have other stories on maybe doing the CoCo Paints and CoCo Maxes.
Yeah, personally, I feel that the CoCo mouse worked very good on Popcorn, Clowns and Balloons.
Oh yeah, it would.
Arkanoid.
Yeah,
it was good on Arkanoid. What about the CoCo graphics designer?
I'd actually like to have a good CoCo trackball.
Yeah, Wicco made one.
Yeah.
Was the high-res interface for the mouse? Was that to make the mouse more precise in painting programs?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because otherwise it would skip.
Yeah, or joystick, because it's all the same thing. It's the same input, right? Joystick or mouse.
Yeah.
Works really nice with my PS2 adapter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do have to admit that my first design for the high-res joystick interface, that was really to take a optical mouse and interface into the CoCo and get it so that you could get all the different positions. But Tandy didn't want to do that because they would have to include the mouse, and you're looking at $100 for the product. They want something cheaper, so I designed something they could sell for $10.
I didn't know you designed that. That's cool.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting because a lot of those brands like Tandy, Commodore, and so on, I mean, the mouse was really an afterthought. When you look at this one, though, that was a real workhorse of mice. This is the one that came with the Apple Macintosh in 1984. That's the M0100 that was sold with the Mac 128. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's really the first computer that was entirely designed around the mouse, and that was their famous single button design here that they kept for many years.
Any computer that was designed at 1980 or right about there, the electronics weren't cheap enough to do a mouse. It took a couple of years for microcontrollers to come out so they could get the cost down. I mean, in the case of the color computer mouse, that was simple because you had two potentiometers, and as you moved the mouse, it moved the potentiometers. So there was no real electronics involved. But if you had an optical wheel in there, that either you put the electronics in there or you had a circuit board that you plugged into the computer that would read the optical connections and try and figure out your position.
Yep. Now, I do have an interesting one. Let's see if I find it.
I was saying Apple stole it from Xerox.
Actually, technically, that's a falsehood. They didn't steal it.
Borrowed?
Inspired
by?
No. The guys at Xerox, they owned stock in Apple, and they said, "Go ahead and use it." The guys back.
Speaking about an early mouse, that's very interesting. I haven't seen a lot of those. This is an A+ mouse from a company called Mouse Systems. That is one of the first optical mice, and it would come with a special mouse pad.
Yeah,
that was a metal mouse pad with like little lines drawn in it.
Yeah,
that you would actually have to use with the mice, and that was introduced primarily also with the Commodore the Mac 128, the first Macintosh. But it was a
I remember selling a few.
An optical mouse.
Yep.
1984.
Once again, technology hadn't advanced very much. Eventually, mice became, well, you've got a camera down there, and it's taking a picture of the surface, and it looks at how much that surface changed since the last time they took a picture.
Yeah.
And that got rid of things like your special pad that they're looking for the lines to figure out if you moved.
Yeah, I remember that cross stitch pattern of the metal stripes on the mouse pad.
Right.
Yeah. It's very interesting, technology, obviously, that took the world by storm, but yeah, the A+ mouse, let me see what they say about that.
That's a 2E and a 2C. Same mouse, just they change a little bit the colors.
The button colors, yeah.
And then with the Commodore, there was this little, it would look like a joystick attached to the side of the keyboard, and it worked like the mouse. And then IBM had the track points.
That actually looked a little bit like the original Macintosh mouse too. The one
mouse. Very few changes there.
Yeah.
Of course, the mouse killed off the original computer pointer, a light pen.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, with the light pen, did you need? I never used that. Did you need a special monitor to work with the light pen?
Oh, look what I got!
All you needed was a CRT monitor.
Just any CRT would work.
Yep.
Okay.
What does that say there, Javier?
This is a touch screen for a CRT for Apple II.
Oh my god!
So you can
Where did you find that?
Yeah, that's really, really rare.
That's got to be resistive, not capacitive, right?
It is.
So it's pressure sensitive.
Yeah.
Well, the first touch screens, and they had them in Byte magazine where you could build them yourself. There was a light array with emitters and detectors that would be put around the screen, and when your finger would hit it, it would break a light array.
And then you'd get an XY coordinate.
Exactly.
Yeah, Spectrum used to sell light pens, and they would give you a little bit of software, and you would simply light every character block on the screen in sequence. And then whenever the light pen picked up the light from the block, then you knew that's what you were pointing to. It wasn't as nice as a real high-res light pen, but you could write some games with it. And several companies did write, like Computer Island, and several other companies wrote games to work with the Spectrum light pen.
Well, back from 1978 through about 81 or 82, I basically had the light pen market cornered on Apples and TRS-80 Model 1s. And I did come out with a version for the CoCo, but I never really tried to market because I could see the light pins were going away. But I included software that you could use in BASIC to find where the pin is at. And I had systems where you could just simply move it across the screen and it would find the position and you could draw with it like that. It was extremely fast.
Wow.
But that's an old technology that died rather quickly.
Yeah. And by the way, Javier, I stand corrected. I was just looking up that A+ mouse. It was actually introduced for the Apple IIc, not the Mac.
Yeah.
It's compatible, but apparently Mouse Systems did develop it specifically for the Apple IIc in 1984 as the first optical mouse.
And I heard something like the Apollo or some other computer had also the same mouse. I don't remember which one, but yeah, another brand, you know, for business, and they had that same mouse with optical path.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, what about Xerox? When Xerox invented X Windows and the GUI stuff and everything else before Steve Jobs stole it from him.
No, he did not. He did not steal it.
They gave it away. That's the worst part.
That's the thing is the guys back in New York, since they owned stock in Apple, they felt Apple could do something with it because the guys in New York didn't know what the hell to do with this electronic office. After all, they were a photocopying company.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Apple. It was Microsoft and it was Digital Research.
But did that
Microsoft stole it from Apple.
Yeah.
Did the original Xerox GUI system have a mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would predate.
Yeah, the Xerox Alto.
Yeah, the Alto. Yep. The White House actually had them. They were using them for word processing.
If you guys want to see a really cool YouTube series that talks a lot about the Alto, look up the guy called Curious Mark. He's a French guy. Obviously, all the videos are in English though, and he's a big collector of Altos and a lot of restorations of Altos and stuff like that. Fascinating machine.
There was also a computer in the early 80s called the Corvus Concept that used 68,000 version of CPM, and it had a mouse, and it had a ball monitor that you could go portrait or landscape.
Oh,
wow. And it was never really caught on. It had Apple II slots, so you could use Apple II compatible expansion cards. And that was a nice system that Corvus sold. I just remember in the 80s reading in Computer Shopper and other magazines about the big lawsuit between Apple, Microsoft, and GEM. Apple was suing them for the look and feel of Windows and GEM.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why GEM had to change. GEM, if you look at the Atari ST, Stevie, whenever you get a power supply for your ST, you're going to find out that the GEM on the ST is very Mac-like. But then later versions, they had to change it to make the windows not overlap and not, it was made it very less Mac-like in the later versions on the PC.
Yep.
Almost sounds like the CoCo 3 being held back to not compete with the Tandy 1000, you know?
Well, not really the same. But
yeah. No, I saw a lot of stuff on the Apple II GS that was just as good as Mac stuff.
Yeah, that was definitely held back to favor the Mac for sure.
Right.
There was no doubt there. Yeah,
but you know, a big software package on the PCs that I used to sell in the 80s and the early 90s was Ventura Publisher, and that was based on GEM. And it was very Mac-like in how it worked. And then PageMaker was the competitor, and that worked under Windows.
Yeah.
I remember when PageMaker was made by Aldous. I'd use that on the original Mac.
Yeah. I used to use one called Ready, Set, Go before those two.
Yes. Yeah, Stuart used Ready, Set, Go. He liked that.
Yeah.
Stewart and Zebra system.
It was very good. It was better than PageMaker, actually.
Speaking about input devices, do you guys know what this is?
An anal probe?
That's
I knew you were going to say that.
It's another 9-pin connector.
Okay.
Come on, it's Tandy.
A silent for a graphics tablet.
No, it's a Tandy or Radio Shack input device. I'm going to give you a hint. It's for the specifically designed for the TRS 80 Model 100.
It's a barcode reader.
Barcode reader, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Barcode was big back then.
Yeah.
You know, specifically with the TRS 80 Model 100, it was highly portable. People would just scan barcodes all day.
Wow.
At least
Does anybody remember? Do you guys remember the cat bar reader that Radio Shack and other people tried to sell?
Yeah, I got one somewhere.
I think I've probably got about 20 of them between the PS2 and the USB ones.
I've lost count of how many of those I've thrown away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we have QR codes.
Yeah.
Only took 20 years.
Wow. Yeah, barcode reader. Well, that was going to be my second guest.
Anyone remember there was a company?
Stick with what you know, Steve.
Yeah. If it wasn't going
in the CoCo market that made a mouse for the CoCo called the Rat. Nobody remembers the Rat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was a graphics package.
Well, it was they made their own mouse, and I don't know if it came with a graphics package, but I had a couple of the Rats.
Well, it was another input device that was trying to break the 64 number barrier.
Okay.
6-bit.
Yeah, it was a high res
mouse. My Dicom products.
And how about a koala pad?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those were big, yeah.
Zebra, we put the CoCo koala pads on the Timex Sinclair. We made a little adapter card that plugged in the back of the Timex for the 2068, the color, the ZX Spectrum clone. That works just like the CoCo Max high-res adapter.
Well, but what about the graphic digitizer that costs as much as the CoCo itself?
The X-Pad?
Yeah. Well, no, that huge.
I got one. They're neat.
Yeah.
Now you can get them like for $50 from China. They're like so cheap. Graphics tablets.
Yeah. Nick, are you still laughing, Nick? Nick's like covering his mouth.
Just the way you said it so matter of fact, like it's no big deal. Like, oh, anal probe?
We're at that age. That actually we need that as a CoCo product, the home proctology exam. You know what I mean? It's just like plug this into your CoCo and check for polyps.
It's not a CoCo project, but it could be.
I can just see the headline for the ad now. Shove it up your ...
Hey, I'm sorry to tell you guys, they sell them for the PC. You plug it in.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, it's what do they call those?
An anal probe.
No, we can use it to look down drains. You can look into drains and.
Okay, yeah, like the fiber optic camera thing.
Yeah, they sell those.
It's an endoscope.
An endoscope. Yes. That's
okay.
Yep.
But
thousands of people manufacture those.
Nick Marotta, it could be used as an
Nick Marotta.
I'm not saying it's a CoCo project, but it could be.
I'm sensing a business opportunity.
It's the CoCo home colonoscopy kit.
It's a CoCo colon.
Yeah.
Stand still, laddie.
Hello, everybody.
Now, would it be an input or an output device?
It's a one-way road.
Yeah, the X-Pad digitizer, that was a neat little product. Now, when it first came out, it was very expensive, but I think I got mine when they went on clearance because I had one back in the day, and I think I got it for, I think they were like $400 or $500 when they were brand new. I think I got mine for well under $100. or maybe 100 back in the day. And I had written software for it. I'd written my whole own graphics package for that pad. That was full resolution, 256 by 192 with the pen. And it read the pressure of your pen and everything. You could like put down a piece of paper, whatever you drew on the paper, it could, you know, pick up underneath it and stuff.
Yeah, you could use tracing drawings also.
Instant artist.
Yeah, and that was neat. It was neat. I mean, it came with, I think they gave you some sample programs, you know, how to use it. And I think it was pretty easy to read from. You were really just like peeking a few things off the cartridge to see where the X and Y axis was. But it was very good precision on reading where that digitizer tablet was.
The original CoCoMax digitizer cartridge could do that as well.
Yeah. It's neat.
Oh, go ahead.
It's a neat peripheral, but I think so few people have it. It would be neat to maybe make a couple of games. Like imagine making Double Back for the X-Pad where you could literally draw circles around stuff, you know, with a pen. That would be kind of cool, you know. But again, it's like not enough people have it. And as far as I can tell, I don't even know if you can really emulate that. So, but it would be neat to kind of do something to take advantage of that.
I remember back in the day, it started on the Apple, on the image writer. You would replace the print head with a scanner, with like a little camera. And you could then put your image in the rollers of the printer and run the software, and it would scan the image.
Computerized, it was called.
Computerized. They also did one for the CoCo, because I remember being at a Rainbow Fest, and around the corner from us, it was the same people that were displaying the scene from the CoCo. They had digitized. It was the same people that did the digitizer for the CoCo, and they were also selling the scanner. And it worked pretty well for what it did. It was low res, but back then there were no, you know, flatbed as yet. So
okay, guys, I'm gonna run.
All right, Nick.
All right then.
Actually, I'm bailing out as well. Have a good night, guys.
Take care, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, Grant's back. Greg.
Oh, you missed a lot of fun, Greg.
Yes, I am still here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it's amazing if you think about it. Like adding a camera to a printer, it almost sounds like a high-tech ghetto rig. But it was at the time it was probably like, you know, mind-boggling that they could do it. You know.
Why would you want a camera on a printer? I missed something.
It's a poor man's scanner. You convert your print head on your printer to put an optic on there where it could scan stuff as the print head goes back and forth.
On a dot matrix printer, yeah.
No.
In the chat, in the Zoom chat, James Diffendaffer put a post to a YouTube video about the Xerox computer with the mouse and GUI.
Okay. I'd be leery to play any videos without getting copyright police on me. But let me see if I can find it.
Well, don't. Well, people can look at it offline.
Well, nobody outside of Zoom can see it, so you should probably put it in the YouTube chat. Let me see if I can find it. Xerox prototype with mouse
and GUI.
And GUI. Yeah, I'll post the link in the YouTube chat, but I'm just not going to try to play it because I don't know. I don't want to get any flags for that.
I just remember back in the day when I used the CoCo as my main system, I had to use the mouse most of the time. I rarely used the joystick.
Yeah, mouse was a foreign concept to me back then.
So I used the VIP library, you know, the calc and the word processor and the terminal.
Yeah, that's what I used.
Mouse. And I had something called Pen Pal, the guy in Canada that used the mouse.
Pen Pal. That's a word processor?
That was kind of like a they had more than a word processor in the later versions, didn't they?
Yeah, it had a calendar, it had a terminal, it had a word processor, and a spreadsheet. It was similar to VIP.
Yeah, and then they ended up having a port to the Amiga, I remember.
Yeah, I never used it on the Amiga. But I use the mouse on my CoCo almost all the time.
Yeah, I actually tried it when I was doing a video of Clowns and Balloon recently. I tried using the black mouse, and I just found it to be so heavy and wonky. It wasn't fluid enough to really play with. Maybe mine's just because mine's like, old, you know.
It was like moving around a rock.
Yeah, it really feels.
No, it's heavy.
I don't think it's you. It's awful.
Yeah.
Well,
was that the 1-button or 2-button mouse?
Yeah, the 1-button mouse. Yeah.
Yeah, 2-button moved a little smoother.
Yeah.
They were able to get the potentiometers that rotate in there to move more freely.
Okay, yeah. The black one was horrible. I tried it. But yeah, a good mouse on the CoCo would be really great for games like Polaris, you know, like your Missile Command games, your Centipede style games, you know, obviously double back and stuff like that too. So Arkanoid.
If someone did a mouse adapter for the CoCo to use a modern,
or paddles, CoCo paddles would be cool.
Warlords, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, paddles you can get more easily now because with these Atari flashback consoles, one of the accessories is a set of paddles.
Yeah, but then that needs to be then adapted to the CoCo, and most of those are digital only, so we would need somehow to adapt that to get the full radius of
paddles were potentiometers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But you know, I agree. Yeah, I mean, a paddle. I would love either a good mouse or all the above. A good mouse, a good trackball, and a good paddle for the CoCo.
Does anyone? I don't remember. Does anyone remember if they ever made paddles for the CoCo back in the day?
Not Tandy.
There was some advertised on. It was a third party, you know, one of the things in like Rainbow or whatever. There were some, but I don't know that anything used paddles.
Yeah, I mean, I made my paddles back in the day by taking an Atari 2600, cutting off the connector, and putting it on a CoCo.
Right, exactly. You could probably adapt them with an connector adapter.
Or you just solder.
Yeah.
Be good for racing games too.
They'd be good for Space Invaders. They'd be good for Stevie's. Well, Stevie's game is 3 dimensions, so maybe not for Stevie's game.
Personally, I don't think it would be good for Space Invaders because that game requires you to press a button, move to a location, fire, and have the agility to move back and forth, where a paddle, it just doesn't play that nice for that.
It was designed around buttons.
Exactly.
Yeah, popcorn would work really well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Popcorn, Clowns and Balloons, and Arkanoid.
Definitely.
Yep. Yeah, on the Atari 2600, you use the paddles with Breakout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was the their one that dropped the bombs that was similar to popcorn?
Kaboom. Yeah, which was Avalanche inspired, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, back in the day, there wasn't a lot of games we'd come up, so we kind of came up with games that were similar. As the systems advanced, we could do more different titles.
Well, yeah, it's not only that. It's that if you had a CoCo and you looked at a game on the Atari 2600 or the Commodore, or kind of wanted a game similar to that on your system, you don't want to have to buy every system to get every game. So like Polaris was that Ron is playing Andy's answer to Missile Command.
Yeah. Yeah, Polaris is probably one of the better Missile Command games on the CoCo because you had the 3 different keys where you could fire from each island individually. And also it did a really good job of taking those 4 colors and just recycling all 4 colors different ways, using the 2 modes and the 4 colors to really exploit the only 4 colors that we had at any one time. Really good job.
I have to admit, I was always surprised that Atari never sued Tandy for that game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was that good.
Yep.
Polaris.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, the only difference is they were submarines instead of base stations, you know, but I mean, it was literally the same game.
Well, what about like Donkey King and stuff? Those were complete.
Well,
yeah, but those weren't Tandy. Those were little software.
Yeah, those were third party. So Tom Mix was none.
Yeah,
Tom Mix wasn't as big of a
and
target.
they had to change it to the king, and to remove the donkey from the title.
Yeah.
Well, basically, when it comes to these small guys, it's a little bit like whack-a-mole. There's so many out there you have to deal with. You're not going to get them all.
Yeah.
Because Tom Mix released a bunch of them. Buzzard Bait was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Sailor Man.
Sailor Man.
But that was such a common thing, though. Clones were just very,
I think Spectral Associates had what? They had Moon Patrol. I can't remember.
Lunar Rover Patrol. Yeah.
Right. And they had Lancer with Joust, and they had
Color Car instead of Bump and Jump.
Galagon.
Yep.
Galagon.
They had Microbes, which was like their asteroids. Yeah.
They had an Omega Race clone too. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, Space Race or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah. There was a Kix or QIX
and
clone.
Then,
Quicks or whatever.
There was
the Pegasus and the
Color Cubes.
Yeah. Pegasus and the Phantom Riders. It plays the very much like Lancer. It was also made by Spectral Associates, so I think they stole the code for the flying and stuff, but they used different sprites and a different background.
Right.
Didn't they use those fake colors too, like some of those
artifact colors?
Yeah. Well, not only artifact, but then they started dithering into patterns, like checkerboard patterns and stuff. Yeah,
like those adventure games did. Like,
and it looked really good.
Yeah, those adventure games were good. The Leprechaun game and the
like the Mark Data
Black Sanctum,
things like that. Calixto Island, stuff like that. Well, Sands of Egypt, another one. So,
Sands of Egypt was one of the better for dithering.
Yeah.
Well, at Datasoft, we did an awful lot of dithering, not only in Sands of Egypt and Dallas Quest, but we also did it in simple games like Shooting Gallery.
Yeah, that one was very good.
Yeah, Shooting Gallery is a top-notch game.
Well, the
that would also work well with a paddle, right? Shooting Gallery.
Yeah, it could. Of course, Shooting Gallery is based on Carnival, the arcade game. Loosely based on it.
Yeah.
There you go. What about light guns? There was a couple people that adapted light guns.
Yeah.
Was there a Tempest clone?
Yes.
Yeah, it was called Storm, and it used semi-graphics modes, and it played well. It was using SG-24, so you had...
there's Bump and Jump or Color Cars or whatever.
Yeah, based on the resolution, it was as good as they could make it, but it played very much like the original game did.
When it was Electron.
Yeah, I don't know the Tron clones. I'm just not sure. They
they
weren't quite home runs.
The original Tron arcade game I thought was a little awkward on some of the different boards anyway.
The light cycle game, right?
The light cycle and the cone were good. The spiders,
The spiders was the one I thought was kind of awkward.
And there was one other one.
There was the tanks. There was the
tanks. Tanks were okay.
Tanks were okay. Didn't you have to throw the disc and break through to the?
Yeah, that was MCP cone. Yeah, that was basically like a rotating breakout level.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that a separate game, Discs of Tron?
Yeah, that was a much better game.
Yeah.
Especially in the environmental cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of a game. I think it was on the Commodore where you were a secret agent and you had a car and you're driving down a road.
Spy Hunter?
Spy Hunter.
Yeah, Spy Hunter. Was there anything like that on the CoCo?
I think so.
Trying to remember.
That was a very popular game on the Commodore, I remember.
There were a lot of... Well, no, there were a couple clones of that one that had the oh god, what the hell was that called?
Pole Position. There was a few.
Pole Position. Yeah. There was a couple of those, and then there was the Monaco Grand Prix, which was horrible.
Right,
but it was a
top down design one. It was top down.
Yeah, I remember it had like the really
sound like
sprint.
Yeah, it had like the clicking sound.
It was
for the engine
horrible.
Sound. Yeah.
Well, there's always Desert Rider.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm popping out these names so that when Steve introduces,
that's right. That's the guy who made Zaxxon. Now we can say the guy who made Desert Rider. There's so many to choose from. Yeah, here we go. This is Speed Racer.
Yeah, that's the one I remember. Speed Racer.
This was a pretty good pole position clone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun game.
So okay, you're switching between them. All right.
Yeah.
That was a really good one.
Yeah. That was the thing.
Was that Mitchtron or
was this Mitchtron?
Yeah, it's Mitchtron, yeah.
Their Robotron game was
really good.
Robotac.
No, I think that was Color. The Intracolor made the Robotron.
Intracolor. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Intracolor had Candy Company.
Color Candy was a cool game. Was that a clone of something?
No, it was pretty original, actually.
I think it was, yeah. The music was really good, too.
Which one?
Had Candy Company, another Intracolor game.
The Candy Company.
Yeah, Candy Company.
I think
Berserk
there was a similar arcade game.
No, that
I don't remember what it's called, though.
I'm waiting to see if Stevie can get to level 2.
Do you remember Berserk? The clone Berserk? Well, it was an S. It was Berserk.
Yeah,
it was really good clone.
Yeah, and then they changed the name to Haywire later on, another kind of cease and desist type thing.
It was there was actually a cartridge version of Berserk for the Dragon.
Okay.
I had that, and what was it? There was another one that, but they had all sorts of cartridges we didn't have.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Can you do a commercial?
Sure. We'll do a commercial for Ron Delvaux. All right.
Wow.
Will it help you go?
Wow, that is just crazy.
Yeah, this is a professional show.
Well, we can keep because Ron, you just don't want to miss anything. Is that what it is?
No, I enjoy it in the talk.
All right, so we'll do that. I'm gonna turn sound back on so you guys can hear when.
Make sure you mute your mic.
Yeah, mute your mic when you're on the crapper.
Okay.
No more than 2 shakes.
We don't want to hear this sound right here. Yeah. All right, we're gonna run a commercial. Thanks, Ron.
Hey everybody, this is Bill Noble, co-author of Nitrous 9. You are listening to CoCoTALK Live, the leading live CoCoTALK show.
We're really sorry.
This just in, Ron Delvaux dropping a deuce.
Ron Delvaux is contributing to the water table.
Considering that he hasn't been on camera for the last 10 minutes, I don't know why he had to sit there and say, I got to go.
Yeah, right.
Ron Delvaux is dropping David Ladd at the
This isn't like school. You don't have to raise your hand.
He doesn't want to miss any of this riveting talk.
Ooh, Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter.
I guess he doesn't realize he can watch the replay.
Ron Delvaux putting the P in PC.
Thank you very much.
Is brought to you in part by Placeblex Dietary Supplement. Placeblex.
That's what he took too much of.
Hey, Stevie?
Yeah.
Did you have some new Tandy Assembly commercials you're going to run?
They were just audio. I haven't downloaded them from email yet, though.
Oh, okay.
And I found it. Radio Shack's color.
One of them's mentioning the auction and a few other things like that.
It entertains, educates, manages.
Looks like Ron Delvaux's back from the restroom.
Hey, Stevie, does your Apple IIc have a 5 1/4 or 3.5 inch drive?
5 1/4.
Okay.
There we go, and we're back.
I would recommend
Desert Rider.
I would recommend getting an AET.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember skiing?
Yes.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Get
Absolutely. Hey, Ron, did everything come out okay?
Yes.
Okay.
They had like a Summer Games clone too, with the track and field. And
the track and field type thing. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
The discus throw.
Rob Inman says, CoCoTALK, live from the crapper. Yeah. So.
I love how quickly they were able to draw the white snow in Scheme.
Yeah, that's great. Didn't they have a digital sound?
Yeah, yeah. It said
At
get
the
ready, get set.
Go.
That one had music playing all the way through somehow?
No music.
Like I know you.
It said ready, set, go at the beginning, and then you heard cheers of the applause of the audience when you made it to the bottom.
Yeah.
The roar of the crowd type thing.
Oh, there's a root beer tapper clone.
I always found it funny that they used a digital sample of the crowd instead of using a white noise generator.
Yeah. If you really look at the game, it's just basically an adaptation of like Night Driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Now, why is this one flickering so much? Is this not the double buffered version, or because I thought this would on 16K would use double buffering and not flicker? Maybe it's just I don't know.
It's flickering here, so I don't know what even on locally. So who knows?
Okay. You got more than 4K in that machine, right?
I think.
Well, remember, this is one of the first games.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
A lot of developers only had 4K.
Yeah.
It works in RGB. It's color.
Yeah,
it's not artifact graphics. Oh, there's the crowd.
They're all dressed wearing the same thing.
They kind of look like miscolored
Oompa Loompas.
Smurfs.
They look like Oompa Loompas.
Oompa Loompas, yeah.
Oompa Loompas ready for surgery. They got their freaking scrubs on.
I had an Atari 400, and the only reason I had it was to play. What was that space game?
Star Raiders.
Star Raiders, and there were two versions of that for the CoCo.
Yeah, there was.
Yes, there was
Project Nebula and Steve Bjork's. What was yours called, Steve?
Warfighter 3D.
Because that one would use the red and blue glasses, right?
Right.
Oh, that one I never bought. Never played that one. There was another one. It was like it began with a G, like Galaxy something.
Well, there was a Galactic Attack cartridge that was kind of a 3D TIE fighter looking thing that you would shoot.
There was a Quasar Commander.
Quasar Commander, that was it. Quasar Commander was kind of pseudo 3D.
That was the one I would play most often.
And Project Nebula was the good one, and Quasar Commander sucked, I think.
Yeah, really? Quasar Commander was more arcadey, where Project Nebula you had to use your map and you had to find your quadrants and take out the bad guys, and you had to.
That was like Star Raiders.
You had to dock with the space station to refuel your supplies and things like that. So.
Yeah, Quasar Commander was kind of a cross between what was it, UFO and oh geez, there was another. Yeah, it was more arcade like. It wasn't as good, but it was a 4K game too.
Yeah, so. I mean that's the thing too. Like it's you know when you look back now with armed with this knowledge, it's easy to look at the game and say, yeah, this is not an impressive game. But
Dino Wars.
They had to fit it into 4K. You know, I actually think Dino Wars is pretty revolutionary, honestly, with the amount of scaling it did and the kind of wiggle vision it had.
Dino Wars sold more CoCos in my store than anything else because we would use the cartridge and running 24 hours in the attract mode.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Root Beer Tapper or whatever it was called. What was it called in the CoCo?
Brewmaster.
Brewmaster. Brewmaster.
It didn't have the bonus game though, did it? With the shaking.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
it sure does.
Shaking cans. Yeah.
Wasn't there a CoCo version of Burger Time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lunchtime or something like that. Yeah, there was Food War, which was like the food fight game. There.
The pies. Throwing the pies at each other.
Mud pies. Yeah, Mud pies was another one. One was called Food War.
Remember Firecopter?
Yeah.
The Choplifter? Was it Choplifter clone?
Oh, yeah, Choplifter was Apple, yeah.
No, Firecopter was 3D, where you had to...
Made by Dale Weir.
No, this is a Choplifter clone, right?
Chopper Strike, maybe. Chopper Strike was more like a... what was that Sega game? Side-scrolling Sega game.
Scramble?
Scramble, yeah. It's kind of like
Yeah.
a scramble, yeah. Yeah, same thing with like Whirlybird Run. Whirlybird Run was kind of like a scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
Firecopter was the 3D one where you'd have to go around squirting the fires and putting them out.
Yeah.
And it was a 3D city.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
By the way, Rob Ingman, I don't have one. Thank you very much. And what is the Outhouse one?
Oh, that was a great game.
Outhouse is where they're stealing the toilet paper, and you got to stop the people from stealing your toilet paper, and the UFO comes by.
Steve's got a video on that one.
Yeah, that was Outhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome to 35 seconds ago. Yeah. No, there's Firecopter. Yeah, Firecopter is pretty cool. It's pretty impressive.
Outhouse was on the Model 1 and Model 3.
Yeah, that was originally Computer Shack one that made, right?
Yep.
And and they made its way to the CoCo as well.
This P-51 flight simulator.
Yeah, Outhouse.
The P-51 required you play against someone else, didn't it? If I remember right.
It did allow you to play against somebody over a modem. Yeah. So
I had Outhouse 1 for the CoCo 3.
Yeah, there's Outhouse.
There's Outhouse. And don't crash into the Outhouse, apparently, right? And then you have to hold down the button to fire. Hold down the button and then move the stick to fire in a direction. Yeah.
Correct. They didn't have stink vision back then, did they?
Smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision.
This is where Ron Delvaux was during the commercial break. So
that's right. A little crescent on the door.
Or Bosconian? Which was the
that was a Draconian. Bosconian was called Draconian, and they added the feature where you had to pick up space astronauts. After you broke the pieces off of the little things you were shooting, there were astronauts you had to rescue.
And there was a huge dragon.
And there was a huge dragon that would chase you to the end if you spent too much time on the level. Yeah, it took up the whole screen. And so there he goes. He's got the toilet paper.
Oh, there was a Paperboy clone.
Oh yeah,
paper route. That's Dave Dicom Products.
Was Gauntlet 2 for CoCo 3?
Gantlet.
So
let's put it this way: if a game came out in the arcade, there was a CoCo clone.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And I can't bring them up as quick as you guys can talk about them.
You're doing a pretty good job, I gotta say, Jason. You're like Johnny on the spot there with the games.
So how many programs and games have we lost through the years that are not on the archive or anything like that?
Good question.
Aki Waki, what the heck's that?
I have no idea. I mean, how do we know what we don't know about? You know.
I just didn't know if anybody came across anything that they used to play as a kid and they can't find it anymore. So.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens.
There was some stuff that you could order from some of the more obscure software publishers. I'm sure that hardly anybody ordered.
Yeah, so there might not be enough copies to make it to the archive or something.
Yeah, if it's there was some sort of Bumblebee game. You go through a maze. I remember. I don't know if I've seen that one on the archive, but I haven't.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, all the
Infocom ones. A text adventure?
Yeah.
All the Infocom games.
Yep, I got it up.
Leather Goddesses of Phobos.
So that would be good to, because I know that Infocom Interpreter's been patched to work on both the CoCo VGA and the CoCo 3. So to have more, wider text screen with lowercase support would be nice.
Was the Mitchtron game Time Bandits ever on the CoCo?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Great game.
So I have that on the Atari ST, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it originated on the CoCo and
actually on the Model 1. It was on the TRS-80 first.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah, and the ST and Amiga versions are very different. They look similar, but they play a little different.
Did you guys play Trivial Pursuit?
Oh yeah. There was the one for the CoCo, right, on OS9?
OS9, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I played that one a lot. I like that.
Has anybody heard of a game called Flame of Caluduril 2? Flame of Caluduril?
I've heard of it. I never did play it.
Yeah, that's what this guy Pawnbreak is saying. Flame of Caluduril. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right.
Mr. Dig.
I got a bunch of OS9 games from some company to evaluate for Zebra, and I never booted them once. And they're still in the little plastic baggies in a box.
Oh, wow.
Then there's Frogger.
Yeah, the original Frogger from the Cornsoft group with the music
Now,
and everything.
That one I've seen a lot of.
Now, what about the licensed games on the CoCo? I mean, there was Steve Zaxxon, right?
Yeah.
Was Puyan a licensed game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was Moon Shuttle.
Arkanoid.
Arkanoid. I liked Arkanoid on the CoCo.
Yeah.
And I have it on the Apple TV. Yes.
Tetris.
Super Pitfall.
Tetris.
I never played the licensed Tetris on the CoCo.
Was Shanghai a licensed title?
Yeah. Yes. Through Activision.
Shanghai I liked. My sister plays that on the PC.
And Arkanoid, what else? There was the RoboCop and the Predator.
RoboCop, that was pretty good.
Yeah, Curtis Boyle's got a bunch of them on his website that are, officially licensed titles.
So other than Zaxxon, what is the best game for the CoCo?
CoCo 1 or 2 or 3?
We'll do CoCo 3.
That's a tough one to say. There's so many at this point.
And
it's really everybody's opinion based on what they like,
Is there anything like Mario Brothers on the CoCo 3? Or is that new game that Bosco's working on the first one?
I mean, that kind of borrows graphics from it and some of the gameplay from Mario or whatever.
There was a Mario game, wasn't there, for the CoCo?
No, not
really. Why? Oh, no, it's not. No.
That kind of paradigm for a game is very popular on the other platforms.
Did we mention Rampage as one of the licensed games?
Rampage.
No, Rampage,
yeah.
I had that on the Model 1 originally. I don't think I've ever had it on the CoCo.
I mean, what's the best CoCo 3 game? It's just so subjective because it really depends on the type of games you like to play. I know some of the ones that Curtis mentioned, like the Crystal City and Xenix, those get mentioned because those games are super fast. I mean, they really look like they're pushing the CoCo 3 just because of there's so many palette animations going on. There's super fast action. There's scrolling. There's foreground sound effects, background music. It's just so is it an illusion of speed? Is it real speed? It doesn't matter. I guess it's just the experience. And so those are some examples that he mentions quite a bit as being some good examples of showcasing like the CoCo 3 as a power horse. Curtis is saying that Remy did a demo of a Mario type game on the CoCo 3, and he's got a YouTube video for it, but it was not.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a Donkey Kong Jr. on the CoCo 3?
Which one?
Donkey Kong Jr.?
Yeah, Junior's Revenge was on the CoCo 1 and 2, and then the Return of Junior's Revenge was basically just a 16-color version of it, but was so much slower, it's almost unplayable. So,
have you ever heard of 666, The Haunted House?
No.
Yeah, I would say
I've heard of it.
This game has nothing to do with technical.
I think someone did a video of it.
It has to do with the game that you played the most often and enjoyed the most.
Yeah. And I didn't play CoCo 3 games back in the day. So for me, CoCo 3 games are all relatively new. I've only discovered them in the past year or two.
For me back then, it was definitely Arkanoid.
Arkanoid was one of the best ones. It just was so arcade perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I think I spent more time playing Megabug than the others.
Yeah, Megabug is good.
Megabug was really good. Yeah,
I gotta say, I really enjoyed going through the Nick Marentes Popstar Pilot CD collection. There were just all the games on there were fun to play games.
I think Dungeons of Daggerath was kind of a legendary game for CoCo.
Yeah,
CoCo 1 and 2.
Yeah, there really hasn't been anything like that since. That's just that different and unique and memorable.
Well, it's very simple. Back in those days, we could make money. Now, forget it.
This game's graphical.
Which one is that?
The
Oh,
666 one.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's the haunted house thing.
Yeah, it's graphical. It's pretty
neat.
cool. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Stevie should do one of his Halloween videos on that.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
There was at least one or two adult-oriented text adventures for the CoCo.
Oh yeah.
Of course, everything. A couple of
Porn,
those.
porn drives technology, right?
Oh, I'm sure there must have been at least one strip poker game. There was one for every system.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, Jason's got it open now too.
I think there was a text adventure called Madam. Is that what it's called?
Some Madame Rose's massage parlor.
Yeah,
or something
that's
like
it.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Was Leisure Suit Larry ever on the CoCo 3?
Yes.
I don't know if that one was officially released by
yeah
Sierra or if it was just converted because they had the engine available. That was
No, I
it
think
was an official
was
product.
Sierra. It was Sierra.
Yeah. Okay.
That
and King's Quest was on the CoCo now. King's Quest? No?
Yeah, King's Quest, the
One of them.
Larry Space Quest. Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah, there-
everyone back then wanted chess. That was like a popular game.
Oh, there was a battle chess kind of game, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was 3D.
Archon?
It was Varlock.
Varlock. Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
And it was you move the joystick to swing your sword back and forth. It was a very 3D type of battle, and it was a little hard to control.
Yeah, the
Mm.
Sargon.
It was cool though.
There was one called Sargon, but I got micro chess with my Model 1 when
I don't. Did they ever make Sargon for the CoCo? I didn't think they did.
So. No, I got it for the Model 1. I got micro chess with it because it was one of the few level 1 16K games.
Yeah, there was a later chess game that somebody released on cartridge for the CoCo, and I can't remember what it was called.
Wasn't there one where there was a chessboard that plugged into the computer, and then you would move the pieces, and the computer would detect the movement?
They made some like that. I don't know that anybody did it for the CoCo.
Well, there was a chessboard that would do that, but it was not connected to a computer. It had its own computer inside there. It ran about $600.
Oh, it used magnets or something to move the pieces, didn't it?
Yeah. Had an
That's
XY
right,
system
yeah.
to pick up a piece, move it around, stuff like that.
And I remember.
I even did a chess game myself after I left the CoCo, and I could never figure out why they wanted this chess game on the Game Gear. Because you could only play it for, what was it, 45 minutes or an hour before the batteries ran out?
Yeah. The 6 AA batteries or whatever it was.
Yeah, I just could not understand that one.
It would be a game you could never finish unless it was speed chess. Huh?
I remember before the voice packs came out, all the various Votrax voice packs, what I wanted to do more than anything, there were projects to take the speak and spell and hook it up to a computer to control it from the computer so you could voice it.
Yeah. That
That
just
was
becomes as like a serial programmable sound synthesizer at that point, huh?
Yep.
I like Quicks.
Yeah, there was a Quicks clone for it.
Yeah, there was a couple. Cyrus Chess is what Pawn Break is saying is one of the names of the game.
Yeah, that was the one I was trying to think of.
What was the one? It was Marble Madness was one.
Yeah.
I had a local version of that.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend liked this other game. Was it Bedlam or something? No, not Bedlam.
Yeah.
Bedlam was a text adventure.
Yeah, text adventure.
No, it was one where you were going down a scrolling, looked like a checkerboard, and then you had a marble, and sometimes pieces of the board would disappear, and you had to know to jump, and there were warps, and I can't think of the name of the game. And he loved that game, and I cannot think of it. It was on
Was it kind of 3D going off into the distance?
Yeah, 3D going off in the distance, and it was on a cartridge.
Mind Roll.
Mind Roll, huh?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was more of a maze sort of thing. I don't know.
Steve Bruce Moore says, "You guys still here? Go home."
Movie's over. Go home.
Go home.
There are a few card games I remember too, like Seven Card Stud. Not Seven Card Stud. Spades and games like that.
Well, there was I think it was Steve's early company, Datasoft, had released a handful of card games that I think were on cassette tape, and they were actually written in BASIC.
Gin Rummy.
It had like Go Fish and Crazy Eights, and there's a few of them, and it was kind of these hybrid BASIC games. There was some assembly language in them. Blackjack was one of them. Go Fish was another one. But it had like the opening screen was one of those Datasoft, marquees where the 8 colors scrolled around the border. But because it was in BASIC, you could actually break it. And I remember doing that. I hit break, and I broke the marquee one time. But they were neat. They were neat little card games. They played very well.
The cards were little, right? The cards were small?
Yeah, they were graphical on the screen. It was like a P Mode 4 style game.
I didn't play card games much on the CoCo for some reason.
Yeah.
The card games, I remember they used the red, green, yellow, blue palette, and the cards were fairly large.
I remember Spectrum used to sell Blackjack Deluxe or something, and it was a trainer to train you to play blackjack in a casino.
Yeah, and they had a roulette trainer too, I think.
Oh, there's Mind Roll. There's Jason's pulling up Mind Roll. I see that. Look at it. It's like an 8-ball.
Yeah, Mind Roll's not the game I'm thinking of.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's an amazing one.
That looks really good.
There's Commodore 64 and Atari game similar to the one you were talking about.
Oh, is that a teleport?
I've never seen that one.
That looks like a cool game, though.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of 3D shadow look of the ball when it jumps up in the air and stuff.
Oh, there was a Boulder Dash clone.
Oh, yeah.
Was there ever a Bomb Jack clone?
No, but I know Simon Jonason has been threatening to make one for a while. Yeah, that's really cool looking. I never played that game. And is that just using CoCo 2 graphics? That's like P Mode 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. It asked me if I had an RGB monitor. I think this might be one of those
hybrid
has dual binaries or something.
Yeah, that looks like a CoCo 3.
I had that one. It seems to me it looked like that on the CoCo 1 too, but I don't know. It's so small on my screen here.
It could just be a patch. Who knows?
Yeah.
Dan Shepard's asking if any CoCo games been ported as mobile apps. So, I think Dungeons of Daggerath is one of the few that has been done that you can play on Android.
Gold Runner, but it got pulled.
Yeah. Gold Runner, yeah. Yeah, that's a neat looking game. I've never seen that game before. The scrolling is very smooth, though. I know earlier Paul Fiscarelli was showing something where he was scrolling some mountains like a little Moon Patrol looking thing. That looked pretty good.
Yeah,
that's some stuff.
Patrol, that was good.
This is the kind of stuff we should do on a regular CoCoTALK.
Yeah, I know.
This has been great.
Yeah.
Remember the Castle Guard that you reviewed?
Yeah.
That was good.
Castle Guard?
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I know. It's not that game has very little replay value for me.
Was that the Wizard of War clone or Wizard of?
No, it's just more like a Warlords, a 2-player Warlords. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wizard of War. Was there a CoCo version of Wizard of War?
I misspoke. I meant Warlords.
To my knowledge, I don't know if there is a Wizard of War clone for the CoCo, but that would be a great project to do.
There is not, and I don't think there's Star Castle either.
I bought Star Castle for the 2600. There was like not a GoFundMe. What do you call it?
It was over on Atari Age. I know they were selling them over there.
Yeah, I donated to that, and I didn't buy the cartridge, but I got the digital version that runs on the emulator.
Yeah, that was a really good version.
Was there a Dig Dug?
Yeah. Was it called Pump Man or something like that? I don't remember, but
Pump Man. Yeah.
So I know there was a Mr. Do, which was Mr.
There you go. There's Marble Man.
Yeah. I think Dave Dyes did the Dig Dug, at least one of them. I remember it being halfway decent. Yeah, like so. Who were some of the? You know, that's one of the things I remember as a kid playing games on the CoCo. There were just certain names, even though you didn't know who the people were, you knew their names. Obviously, one of them's here in the panel right now, Steve Bjork.
I know.
You knew his games because his names were on them, right? And it was like
never
that
thought
name.
I'd meet the man. That's crazy.
And it was kind of synonymous with quality too, right? So you knew that hey, if this is a game that's released by Data Software, it's released by Steve Bjork, it's going to be a quality game. Who were some of the other names of authors that were as prolific that had good quality? Like to me, Dicom Products is one of them, right?
Tom
Dave
Mix.
Dave Dyes did a bunch. Yeah, but Tom Mix had a million different authors. Think of like an
Oh,
author.
you think of a person.
Somebody you know by name who was both prolific in the quantity and the quality. There aren't that many that are in the same.
Galt.
Who's that?
Galt. Didn't he do?
I more
baseball?
remember the columns in the magazines.
Well, for me, I was a video game player, so that kind of goes natural with trying to do a decent game. Is I've got to be able to play it and play it and play it while I'm doing it. And if it's not a game that's going to hold my attention, I'm not going to do a very good job on it.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd be surprised how many programmers of games I ran into were not video game programmers. It was just a job to them.
Yeah.
Video game players?
Hard to imagine, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of them that were that way. And I go, don't you ever go to the arcade and play a game? It goes, nah. I always thought these people had been better writing a tax accounting program.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Dig Dug. Yeah.
That's pretty good. So Chad chimed in with the name Nick Marentes. Anybody heard of a guy named Nick Marentes before?
No.
Nah.
Never heard of him.
How about Nick Marionettes?
Nick Marionettes. So yeah, he makes some good stuff.
Yeah.
This Quicks game had good sound to it, and it was on while you played the game. It wasn't just.
I think part of the problem, which goes back to the days of the Atari, is that unless the author's name was on the title screen, you didn't know who the author was, right? So who knows who made Donkey King? It wasn't in the game. The author was never credited. We found out later it was Chris Latham, right?
Like the old Archie comics. Comics, they wouldn't tell you who was the artist.
Well, back at Atari, especially in the early days, that's the reason why a lot of the guys left, because they would never get credit for it.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, the owner would sit there and say, you're no more important to the game than the guy that's out there in the back warehouse putting the cartridge in the box.
Huh. Talk about a morale boost, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's just like, that's the reason why Activision got started.
Yeah.
And this game is incredibly sluggish and slow.
Yeah. Who's another one? Who's the guy?
Which one? Dig Dug?
Pump Man. Yeah, Pump Man is really slow.
So who's the guy who made RoboCop? What's his name? I'm drawing a blank right now. Because he was RoboCop.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Yes. I'm trying to think of his name right now, but he's up there in the same category as Prolifery. Gosh, I can't think of his name right now.
Well,
Nick Marentes.
Nick Marentes.
It seems to me that several of the Spectral Associates have the same name on them, but I don't remember the name.
Oh, Zumwalt. Greg Zumwalt. That was his name.
Yep.
So Greg Zumwalt's another guy who did a number of games that were all pretty high quality, right? So there's three names that come to mind right now. So you got Steve Bjork, Dave Dyes, Greg Zumwalt. But, it's hard because a lot of these games, you don't necessarily know who the author was because it wasn't on the title screen, Yeah.
Well, Dave was definitely another one of those people that was really into video games.
Yeah.
And that really helped when he was designing his stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they are literal clones. I mean, every way. It's been every minutia has been recreated. So, kind of like what's his face was saying earlier today, Eric Critchlow saying, I had to play the game over and over again to find all the spots in the game.
Greg's name is on RoboCop.
Greg Zumwalt,
Steve Bjork, could you expense the quarters that you had to use for research?
Was Ken Kalish?
Ken Kalish, yeah,
Kalish.
another one. Yeah, his stuff was quality. He had a stamp of quality in his products. Yeah.
Phantom
Slayer.
Phantom Slayer, and then he did that Donkey Kong.
Monkey
Kong.
Monkey Kong.
Monkey.
No, not Donkey Monkey. No, it's Monkey Kong.
Monkey was 32 color not 32 color.
Monkey Kong was basically an improved version of the 2600 version of Donkey Kong. Had the same 2 levels, played the same way, just looked better. He also did Demon Seed or Demon Attack or something like that.
I think Demon Seed.
Yeah. There was.
Didn't he also do the
Devil Assault?
Space. Not Freaks. It was.
Well, there was another one that was called something about Starship Chameleon, where you had to catch bombs, but you had to change the color of your piece to blue or yellow to match the color of the thing you were catching. Yeah, Ken Kalish to me was very signature because all of his games had really unique sounds to them. Like he really created custom sounds on the CoCo that you just didn't hear anywhere else. So you knew a Ken Kalish game by those signature sounds that it made, you know.
Pac-Man had the most clones.
Pac-Man had the most clones on the CoCo, no doubt. Yeah.
There was a Pengo. Pengo? Was it the Penguin game?
Yeah, Pengo and Pengon, I think, were 2 of them there. Or Pingo might have been what it was called in the arcade, and then there was Pengon and something else.
Pingu?
How about Downland?
Downland was an original game. It was. Now, who was the author of Downland? Because that was a pretty good game.
Michael Aichmayr.
Okay.
Mayer.
I don't know.
1983 by Spectral Associates.
Downland is pretty original, other than the fact that the guy looked like they stole him from Donkey King. You know, looks like the same Mario who was in Donkey King.
Is there ever a Lemmings on the CoCo?
It's a good question.
I love Lemmings.
I seem to think there was, but I'm not 100% sure.
I can't really buy it anymore. I got the shareware one. There's a penguin-based shareware one.
There was a Monopoly.
Yeah, we've broken the 3-hour mark, and it's past midnight for me. So all I can say to that is
thank you. Yes, you're too kind, and thank you.
Well, I'm gonna go.
All right, Ronnie. Is it past?
He's early.
The wife came in and looked at me.
Oh,
she didn't say anything. She just looked at me.
You didn't
She
tell her.
glared at you.
So
You didn't remind her that you're the man of the house.
I'm gonna go on.
She wanted to make sure you were still alive.
You know, wives are amazingly psychic. They know you're wrong before you even open your mouth.
Yeah, right.
I'd have a really nice one. She's taking care of me.
Yeah.
So.
Hi, Ron.
All right, Ron.
Love y'all.
Bye. Yeah, likewise.
So have we beat this one to death?
Yeah, well, I think
no, we haven't heard enough from David Ladd yet.
Do you really want to hear from me?
David Ladd, what do you like doing the most?
Oh, I'm much happier breaking
that's a bad
stuff.
question.
It ruins the effect when you talk over it.
That's all right.
Anything loses the effect when someone talks over it.
Oh, Barry Nelson is here just in time as we're wrapping up the show. Barry's here. Good night, everybody.
Floppies!
I think we've covered almost every game.
I know I'm joining late, but you guys are probably getting ready to wrap it up. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We were
Thank you.
I was just about to start talking about floppies.
Yeah, that'll clear out the room.
Man.
RS-232, ESP.
TTL, DriveWire.
I'm sure we could get a conversation going real fast and put everybody to sleep.
No, yeah. I still got an extra episode of Star Trek to watch before I go to bed too, so got my priorities.
I went on Facebook and I saw my Facebook feed told me that, hey, Stevie Strove is live, so I figured I'd stick my head over here.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Besides games, the thing I used to love on the CoCo was playing those music files.
Oh yeah, yeah.
like Axel Foley. I used to love that one.
Yeah, like the William Tell Overture and the Bach Fugue and D minor and all those things.
What format were those?
It was like that's all the program did. You loaded it and you hit exec and it just played music and the screen would go fuzzy on you while the music was playing and everything else. You know, it was just like you just felt like this program was just pushing the limits of physics to be able to make the CoCo make 4 voices because
CPU was smoking.
You know, yeah, and it's like the screen went fuzzy while they played the music. Man, this game's really burning up the system.
The CoCo was a machine that seriously needed a decent sound chip, unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we get
CoCo.
Since we're on the topic of games,
you have a good time?
What was the best Defender clone on the CoCo?
There was a Defender clone. That's
there was
right.
a bunch. Yeah, Curtis and I did a showcase of like.
What was the best one though?
God, it's hard to say. Again, it's kind of opinion based.
Subjective.
However, there was one that Curtis and I both liked that was done in semi-graphics mode.
Was
that? And the people that you picked up, the people that you picked up were animated. They looked like little stick figures, and they were waving their hands at you and stuff.
Oh, and you had buildings and
you had buildings and stuff. That one might have been called Protector or something. I don't even know.
Protector, and they had Protector 2, I think.
Yeah, so there were so many
different ones, so they called it Protector 2.
Yeah,
the one I played was P Mode 4. Black.
Well,
orange.
there was a green. There was a one that was intended to be 2-color, a green screen.
Yeah, green screen. Yeah, there was a. We went through. Curtis and I went through about a year or 2 years ago. We went through and we did easily. It felt like a dozen different Defender clones. There was one called Starfire that Greg Zumwalt did that was on a cartridge that was pretty good too, and it kind of had these elements where you could warp to different areas and look at a map and get resources and stuff too. So,
it's gonna bug me now. I remember the Defender.
Yeah, and there was another one in semi-graphics too that actually drew out the mutants and stuff in semi-graphics, and they looked pretty good too. But yeah, it's been so long since I played them. But the one thing that was nice about it is being able to play. Actually, believe it or not, the Atari 2600 version of Defender was pretty good for the system it was on. You know, but to be able to use just your joystick and be able to fire in both directions was so much better than the arcade when you had all the different buttons you had to, turn left, turn right, fire this way, fire that way, hyperspace, smart bomb. It was almost like trying to run freaking mission control to play the game. So overwhelming at the time.
You gotta love the Williams arcade sounds.
Yeah.
Buzzard Bait was really good.
I kind of stole those William arcade sounds for a couple of games I did on the CoCo. I actually went through, disassembled the 6802 CPU code on the soundboard.
Oh, wow.
Kind of went through and said, well, how can I put this on the CoCo? So I figured out how to generate on the CoCo, played with it. So things like old Stellar Lifeline, that that came up that was blown out of a Defender code.
That's neat. I think Moon Shuttle did that one too at the end, the game over sound on that one. Yeah, I might even have it in the soundboard here somewhere. Let me see. Right there. Yeah.
Know it all too well.
Very arcadey.
Gotta love that.
Very arcade sounding.
But it's basically just two sound waves beating each other to death.
I thought I heard like a characteristic beat tone of two sine waves in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think my all-time favorite was Robotron.
I think that was Intracolor, and Colorpede was Intracolor's Centipede clone.
I was talking about the arcade, but
in the arcade game with the two sticks.
The problem with Intracolor's game was you could destroy the Hulks, where on the arcade game you couldn't.
they were indestructible.
There was subtle differences.
Yeah.
I had the Atari version of that crazy shootout.
Let's see, I got a few more CoCo sounds here. I don't remember what they all are. Let's see. That's from Moon Shuttle. The explosion. Let's see what we got here. Okay, that's arcade Donkey Kong. Pac-Man, yeah. That's Temple of Ram. That's arcade.
Hey, for what it's worth, I think that Temple of Rome, I think that tune, what's it called?
The Funeral March?
The Funeral March. That is probably the most used
in
all games on computers.
Well, he's using Clowns and Balloons, right?
Yep.
See if you can name this game here.
Gotcha. Classic.
Oh, man.
That is definitely Megabug.
Yeah.
That is one of the games that my daughters and I like to play on the CoCo.
Steve, isn't that your voice?
And Dung Beetles
No, but it was a zero cross single bit sound that played that. It wasn't using the 6-bit of the CoCo.
Yeah, did that sound come from the original Dung Beetles?
Yes, it did.
Oh,
yeah, I thought it sounded the same on the Apple.
I remember you saying, Steve, one of your games you used your voice.
Well, I think what we'd like to do is we need to get now. I think we've had 4 people speaking at once. Let's see if we can kick it up to 5 next time, so I can understand anybody. So
okay, let's go.
Let's see. I think it's time for bed.
That's from.
Yeah, there you go. That's the Robotron clone.
Yeah, that's good. This sound here was from Double Back when you got killed. So one of the questions in the chat came through was discuss Lancer versus Buzzard Bait.
I like the physics of Lancer better.
Yes, Lancer felt more fluid.
It felt more like the arcade to me.
Lancer felt better, but Buzzard Bait looked better.
Yeah, and people. Well, the funny thing is, people that weren't fans of the arcade seemed to prefer Buzzard Bait, and the people that are fans of the arcade, I think, tend to favor Lancer. But
I've never played Lancer.
Lancer just seemed to feel more fluid, and you felt the resistance and the drag when you were kind of hovering and stuff, and
the way you
how you kind of glided, your glid, is that a word?
Flapped and when you stopped flapping, the way you started dropping and accelerated felt like the arcade.
The glide felt very organic, you know.
And Pegasus and the Phantom Riders, it carried over to that as well.
Yeah. Now, Pegasus was kind of interesting in the respects that, number one, the background kept changing, so it was kind of a story unfolding as you were getting closer to the motherland of where all these guys were coming from.
Right, your levels weren't just one screen with disappearing islands.
And they did add the like the narwhal thing that would spit fireballs at you to reproduce like what you got with the lava troll or whatever it was.
Right, and Lancer didn't have the lava trolls, and Buzzard Bait did.
Okay, Buzzard Bait had the lava troll. Did they both have the pterodactyl too?
They both had pterodactyl.
Yeah.
Pegasus is definitely based off of Joust, but it's definitely a different game. And I see somebody's running it there, Jason.
It's Jason.
Some different elements to it.
Reversed.
Yeah.
There we go. Now that's better. There we go.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Pegasus is the way they use the color artifacting.
Yeah, the dithering. Like even here, you can see what looks like 2 different shades of blue. You got the normal blue,
and when you
dark
turn
blue.
around, it responds different when you turn around because there's this little There's
a little delay as you're rotating.
Little delay that wasn't in the arcade.
Yeah,
there's a bit of a front view of you.
So you have to be a little earlier with your reactions.
Yeah.
That's not the only difference. I mean, some other differences are that you've got, no platforms. You basically got.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as far as how it flies and everything,
like the glide feel,
very different without the platforms.
It's actually a shorter list if you discuss probably what it had in common with Joust rather than what is different. Because it's definitely, I would say, it's definitely a different game.
Yeah. I had done a video a couple of years ago called a Joust Showcase where I basically showed all 3 games and played all 3 games, Lancer, Buzzard Bait, and Pegasus, and just kind of gave my take on it, which I don't remember. But I would think my opinion would probably still be the same, and I think we all kind of agreed that we feel like Lancer feels better, Buzzard Bait looks better, and Pegasus is kind of like closer to Lancer in the playability and the feel of how it flaps and glides.
Yeah, Barry is right. It does play differently because you've got some different goals and everything. But
yeah, and it was interesting because on your first level here, you had the entire beach. So when you hit them, and by the way, they didn't drop an egg; they dropped like a tombstone or a cross or whatever it was for you to pick up. But like there it is, there it's a cross. But in later rounds, it was just like open water, so they would just fall into the water, and you would lose your chance for the pickups. Like this one here, it's got a hole in the middle, which was similar to what Joust had. Joust at later levels of Joust, you lost the floor, so the lava became dangerous. You know, falling became hazardous to your health. But you always had to have at least one or two platforms to regenerate from to respawn. You know, so here you have those two platforms that are basically your spawn points if you die. So you got to have at least one platform to respawn.
This is definitely showing some of the other color mixes that they did.
Yeah, all the dithering patterns there. Yeah, it looked really good. And the longer you played, the closer you got to the island. So it was kind of like it would get closer to you. Like you felt like you were making progress. You weren't, even though you were technically still just doing the same crap over and over again, like any other game of this era. At least you felt like you were progressing, you know, story-wise or background-wise, because the scenery changed.
One of the things I liked,
you got to dodge sea dragon fireballs on the later level.
Yeah.
One of the things I liked about this is instead of them just appearing off platforms or whatever, they come from the island.
Yeah, and they look like they're coming straight at you for a while too, until they get
right.
Yeah, so like a three-dimensional depth illusion of them flying towards you for a little while. I think this one also used the speech sound pack, or at least with speech. I don't think it had any music or sound effects, but I believe it did have a little bit of robotic voice to it.
Yes, it does use the speech sound pack. Definitely does. I have a speech sound pack, and it definitely does use it.
Do you know if it does anything other than talking, though? Does it make music or sounds?
No, which is unfortunate. That is a little bit underused as far as features of the speech sound pack. Is very little used for its sound capabilities.
That was the easiest thing to do, is just throw some text at it.
I was trying to talk to Nick Marentes into using it if it was there. He's like, no, man, I don't want to have to slow down even for 5 cycles to the slower speed to access it.
Yeah.
Which is silly, because you really don't have to do it while you're writing the byte to tell it what to do, and then you can speed right back up and let it do its thing. But
actually, that's not 100% true. The when you run the CoCo at double speed, the clock that it takes to do a voltage converter doesn't work well.
Well, it may not work well, but it seems to work well enough, because, like I said, I've got a driver under OS 9 level 2 that it just slows down to do the actual writing, and then it speeds back up again at while it's doing its thing. And
it sounds like it's using your driver. We're losing.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the speech sound pack is one of those things that it could have been so much more, and this sadly wasn't. But
it was originally designed for the CoCo 1.2 era. And Tandy never. Well, see, part of the thing too is design outside of house, and they didn't know about this limitation on the clock speed.
It uses the CoCo's clock rather than its own
internal clock to save money.
Right. Even though they sold it for $99 or something like that originally.
Yeah. Well, it was not cheap.
By the way, those $10 high-res joystick interfaces that Tandy sold? They cost less than $2.50 once they reach stateside. So $7.50 is how much Tandy and Radio Shack made on each one of those.
Yeah.
No.
I take that back. I take it back. They had to pay me a 25-cent royalty on each one.
So that's why you're a millionaire now. Another interesting thing about Pegasus is, other than the fact of being a little similar to Joust, I think the only platform that you can actually play Pegasus on is a color computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a unique title.
It's a unique title. Yeah. And for what it's worth, it is one of the things that impressed people over on Atari Age the most. they didn't think you could do that many colors on it.
Yeah. It's kind of like another game that kind of became its own game was like Canyon Climber. You know, to me, Canyon Climber is a really low-rate ripoff of Donkey Kong, but it's its own game, and it was on many platforms. There was the Atari version, the color code, you know, it was on a lot of systems. So Canyon Climber is like one of these things where it's a clone that just kind of became its own.
And it started on the CoCo, and the other ones were ports.
Oh, really? So it's CoCo first, huh?
Yep. I'm surprised that nobody ever ported the Pegasus game. I mean, it's an amazingly fun game to play.
Did someone just subscribe?
Someone just followed, and it looks like we just lost our feed to Facebook, possibly because my Facebook Live thing just timed out here.
Well, you're probably streaming for too long.
Yeah, no, Facebook's got a time limit on there. Well, shame on you, Facebook.
More than 4 hours, you got to call the doctor.
If CoCoTALK lasts more than 4 hours, please see your physician. So,
by the way, you know those.
Where am I hearing sound looping right now or something? Background sound.
I think we're going to hear about the high-res joystick interface.
I don't know. It's not me. I mute my mic whenever I'm not talking.
Yeah.
I think it was Al.
That's all right. It's probably good.
I'm sorry. I was testing to see if Facebook was still streaming.
Push the button, Frank.
Press the button, Frank. Probably a good time to end the show. We have a couple people.
Awesome.
A couple people just joined us recently on Mixer. So we got Phase Legacy 34 saying, "What the hell is this?"
That's the usual reaction to this show. What the hell is this?
Pedal Hat says hi. Pedal Hat's the one that just followed us on Mixer. Mixer is Microsoft's streaming service that they bought, and so they're trying to compete with like Twitch and things like that. So when I stream, I just stream everywhere, figuring a few random people might come across the show, and you never know. They might ask us questions like, "What the hell is this?"
Is this about the movie CoCo?
Yeah, right. So
CoCoTALK After Dark, where we answer the question, "What the hell is this?"
Cranky old guys at night, right? So get off my lawn. All right. Hey, look who just joined us. It's
David Ladd.
David Ladd After Dark.
Yes. So what show are we watching right now? We're watching
CoCoTALK After Dark.
There you go. So we got a theme song.
Beat this one to death?
I believe we've beat this one to death.
Hit the button, Francis.
Hit the button, Frank. All right. So any parting thoughts? This was good. Just talking about your favorite games and all that kind of stuff. Blah, blah, blah.
This was quite the walk down memory lane. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Any parting thoughts, words of wisdom before we start playing the outro here?
Did we mention Nick Marotta?
Have we mentioned Nick Marotta at all tonight?
It's okay.
Yeah. Paul Fiscarelli's been kind of quiet. Paul, you good? You awake? You alive?
Yeah, I'm still here. I've just been listening.
Okay. And Greg, you did a great job hosting the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Grant Leighty, the host of CoCoTALK.
All right.
Yeah, I fell asleep. Sorry.
Just remember.
On too long.
There's Greg.
What the hell is that?
That's Greg.
Live coverage of Ron Delvaux.
Yes, James Different-Daffer, good to have you back. You're out of bandwidth jail now, I take it?
I'm out of bandwidth jail.
All right, yeah. David Ladd, always a pleasure to have David Ladd with us.
Just remember the switcheroo, the premier escort solution.
Yes, it is.
Get your switcheroo at cocoman.biz.
The guy who made Desert Rider, Steve Bjork, has been with us tonight.
Finally, a different game.
Desert Rider.
As the inventor of that particular circuit, I really like that name, Switcheroo. I think that's cool.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve Bjork, for all the games.
By the way, it's also used for another product. So
there's James.
Be prepared to be sued at any moment.
All right. In case you missed it.
People selling the thing, but...
In case you don't hear the train there for James, I'll replay that for you right now.
Hey. All you had to do is wait about 30 seconds. I hear one coming.
Yeah.
Coming around the mountain, she'll come.
All right, well, I'm going to play the outro, and then we might have some more
Is that the wrong colors?
Closing thoughts here. So
yeah, hold on, Barry. It's complicated.
He's got this is the S video adapter.
The pink color palette. I remember that.
I like that one. Reminds me of dropping
there
acid.
You go.
There you go.
It's actually preferred that when you're going to use that rectal thermometer interface device on your Model 100, that you take some medication. So
it's got to slide in perfectly.
Oh my God!
How exactly did we get that many color variants on this? What's going on?
All right, we're going to cue the outro music. We'll be back in just a minute here.
Speaking of ouch.
Good night, everyone.
All right, this concludes another episode of CoCoTALK After Dark, featuring Nick Marotta and the Nick Marotta Band.
All right.
On the program, Jason the Coco Man Reichert's been with us. Paul Fiscarelli's been in the house. Greg Leighty's been snoring. David Ladd's been with us. Barry Nelson comes in at the very last minute. Al Hartman's always got a story, and Al Hartman's stories involve his friends. James Diffendaffer brings the train. And the guy who made Desert Rider Steve Bjork was here too. So yes, we got a show. Boy, have we got a show for you.
Excuse me. Can you play an ad so I can go to the bathroom?
In the crapper. Yeah, play a commercial. I gotta.
Teacher.
On that note, I'm out of here.
All right.
That's what took you to leave. Nothing else before that.
Yes, thank you. There, he wasn't kidding. He's out of here. All right, now we can talk about David. All right, so. Wow. Was that your train for you, James?
No.
So I don't know if we're still on the air or off the air, but I'm curious how, when you're putting up those videos for the red, blue, and white and black, that you're switching through color combinations I've never seen before. What's going on there with the adapter, etc.?
I'm running one of the Ed Snyder RGB to S video adapter, and it has a switch for the different artifact modes. And not only does it have the two standard ones, it has all these weird ones that I don't know why they're there. You'd have to ask Ed.
Because you can.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just color burst compensations based on maybe what different TVs might accept or not accept. I'm not sure.
The TVs are pretty standard about because it does have the color burst signal from the color computer on the P Mode 4, even though it's just displaying black and white. It's pretty solid about the colors it displays on most TV sets on a. Other than the fact that the actual CoCo 1 and 2 like to throw the phase off by exactly 180 degrees half the time.
I said, you'd have to talk to Ed about that.
Yeah, but this is taking the RGB output of the CoCo 3, which technically isn't composite at all, and so he's still
synthesizing it. Yeah, and he's got a bunch of extra settings in there.
Yep. So.
And it's just one push button to push through it. There's no.
It's not a switcheroo. It's a pusheroo.
You know what we got to do on one of these shows sometime, though? We got to take a CoCo 3 and hook it up with composite and show people the infamous 256 color mode, which is really there.
Yeah. Well, we can just watch.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, we can watch John Linville's video, and it's already been done.
Yeah, because
he explained that pretty well.
Yeah.
Did he do it on one of these shows?
Nah, he's got a YouTube video for it where he did a little demo on it.
That's not the same as having it on your show, Steve.
Yeah, it's been done. No need to repeat it.
The link was posted just the other day on Discord.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. You're too kind. Yes. So thank you all who's been watching. We still have 18 people watching us right now.
I'm sorry.
Hit the button, Francis.
We're gonna hit the button. This concludes another After Dark. So thank you. God bless you. Or stay retro. Bye bye.
Good night, all.
Good night, everyone.